The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who just got back from a trip to the Shadow Realm. Welcome, Jacob.
That was just, don't remind me of that, dude. That was just a bad time in my life. Come on, man. Be sensitive to my feelings, dude.
Okay.
Why? Thank you. Let me introduce our co-host. A man who just was like, man, he found this necklace and it was called the Millennial Ring. Be like, he just had to have it because, man, it just looked good and be like, it was all styling and jazz and all that. So yeah, now he's possessed by a demon. Welcome, Drew.
I don't have that anymore.
Oh,
It caused too many issues. All my friends disappeared for no good reason.
Yeah.
That's why you were in the Shadow Realm, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. Thanks for that.
Anyway.
One thing I know it wasn't his fault because he was being possessed by the thing.
This is all nutty as a fruitcake. Joining us tonight is a man who believes in the heart of the cards. Welcome, Dallas.
Hello! So excited to be here with you guys. I'm really confused at how Jacob survived the Shadow Realm, but hey, rock it out, buddy. That's awesome. Was it the power of friendship that brought you out of it, my man?
Apparently. So someone got him all set up that brought me back.
Right.
Which is always a good thing.
It's fair.
We didn't get stuck somewhere because Dila did something.
Thankfully
this time. Oh man.
Hang on, I'm bringing up the trivia because we do have a trivia question this week.
Trivia.
This week's trivia is who in Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions' English dub is not voiced by the same voice actor as on the show? Do you know, Jacob?
I have no idea.
Any clue, Dallas?
I think it's Tristan. Because his voice sounded weird.
Nope, that was Tristan's voice in the show.
Okay.
I double checked it.
Okay.
Then who was it?
Mokuba?
Josh Adams got it correct when he said Solomon Muto, aka Yugi's grandpa.
Oh,
He's voiced by the same actor in this as Joey Wheeler.
nice.
Okay.
Because the actress or the actor who was playing him, I think it was an actor, played Solomon, had passed between the end of the show and this movie. So they had to recast him.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. That's sad to hear.
Yeah, it's sad to hear, but it's what happens.
It is what happens because I'm watching the film. I'm like, because I've watched like a few episodes of the animated series and or the anime, let's say that.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. And then watching this movie, I'm just like, the grandfather sounds different. That must be the different voice.
Yeah.
It was. Neko had also guessed that it was the main character whose name he didn't remember.
Yu-Gi-Oh? Or Yugi?
The main girl character?
Tia.
I did say main character, not main girl.
I thought you said main character.
I meant main girl character.
Oh, okay.
So which I asked, do you mean Taya?
Taya, that's right.
Neko did not answer, but Josh over on there said he could mean Taya or Mai. Of course, Mai is not even in this movie.
Right.
So can't be her. But yeah, it was Grandpa. So before we get too far into this, how are y'all doing today?
Man, I'm doing very well. I've actually been off for this week.
Lucky.
Yes. I'm very grateful that I worked for a company for 21 years now, almost 21 years now. And I've had the grace enough having to be able to, I can get off when I need to and just relax and work on projects and work on a Patreon art exclusive thing right now. And hopefully have that out by the end of the week and get that started and just start something new. Just challenge myself to do something different. And look forward to doing that. And if you guys are interested, just I'll put a link where to the doodads whenever I get that done and just let people know. So other than that, I have been walking, a lot of walking because I like to walk. Not in the middle of heat, because if you know anything about the East Texas area, Upper East Texas, Louisiana area, it is a sweltering mess, and I don't want to have a heat stroke and someone have to call 911 because I've passed out in the sidewalk.
Yeah,
we don't want that either.
No. Yeah. So yeah, I've been having a very good time. It's very hard not for me to just walk around and do everything, because that's what I do for my job.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's pretty good. It's very interesting just lounging around and doing nothing for hours. So what have you been up to, Drew?
Pretty much the same, except I have been working. But I've been doing different things here or there. But I'm actually more interested in what Dallas has been doing.
Yeah. What have you been doing, Dallas?
I've been working. So there we go. We're all envious of you, Jacob. Welcome to the show. So
you lazy bum.
No, I've been rocking and rolling over here at Geek Devotions. We just finished Anime April, which was a lot of fun, and covered a lot of cool stuff. We had some really cool guests on our podcast, and we had a cosplayer named Paris, and she's a cosplayer, but she's also a Christian. So we kind of talked about kind of the walking in her faith and all that kind of stuff with what she does and being in that world. And then we had a really great devotion brought to us by a guy named his name is Charles, but he goes by Tweak, and he is the guy who is in charge of Beneath the Tangles, which is a Christian anime review website. And fantastic stuff coming out of there. And he brought a great devotion about My Hero Academia. And so that was a lot of fun. And we just been, rock and roll over here. Lord's opened up some cool blessings that we're going to reveal to folks here in a while for us here at Geek Devotions. And then I don't think I've stopped working at my church. I'm in the transition of doing something that I don't like. That's learning new equipment. I haven't learned how to use a Mac. And so
I don't envy you going back to a Mac.
I so badly just want to reprogram the keyboard and move at least the Apple key to where the control button is.
I understand that. I really do. You're talking to the guy who when I was in school and we had to use Macs up there to learn all the graphic design stuff.
Right.
I got so fed up with how the cursor on the mouse moved. Mm-hmm. I went in and didn't reprogram, but I changed all the settings to act more like a Windows mouse.
Heck yes. Get that right click, baby.
Because I couldn't stand the way it was working. And then I just started bringing my own mouse because I hate the Apple mouse.
Yeah, I'm about to get rid of my Apple mouse and just pull up my ball mouse that I use because I'm so much better at that.
I hear you, dude.
So, but yeah, man, that's what we've been doing. And church doing. In fact, my church this morning was really cool. My pastor went down to our local elementary school, and it's kind of we're in the final weeks of school here in Caddo Parish, and my pastor did a coffee bar for the teachers, and he was making pour overs, and he was doing lattes for all the teachers. My pastor is a coffee aficionado. He roasts his own beans and sells them, and
really,
and so he was out there blessing the teachers today, and next week we're preparing for an event at another school, doing a field day for them. So yeah, man, we don't stop.
Most ministries don't.
Yeah. So, Jacob, do you have any interrogation questions for Dallas?
Yes, I do, actually. All right. So, for our listening and our listening,
for everyone paying attention at the moment,
paying attention at the moment, and for our audio listeners, we have this segment where I interrogate or ask our guests like what kind of like random questions. They have not been cued in on these, or they don't have time to think on these. So it's more just be like, hey, what do you think about this? And just be like, we get their natural reaction to it. So Dallas,
Jacob,
let me think. Donkey.
So since we are doing a Yu-Gi-Oh movie, actually the third and last one, I believe there might be another one coming out. You never know.
It's the last one that's come out, and it is the third one, and only the second one that Japan actually was their idea, because the first Yu-Gi-Oh movie was 4Kids' idea.
Okay, didn't know that.
We can talk about 4Kids later. We can get into all that kind of stuff here in a minute.
4Kids is going to be coming up. Don't worry.
Okay, so So for someone like me who doesn't understand the world of Yu-Gi-Oh, be like, I've watched a few episodes just to get myself kind of familiarized with the series or familiarized with the movie, what have you.
You watched from the first season, didn't you?
Yes, I watched from.
That's when it said it's most normal.
So if you were transported to the world of Yu-Gi-Oh, what character would you want to hang out with?
Would I want to hang out with?
Yes.
Legitimately Yugi, because he's a nerd, and I appreciate nerds and geeks quite a bit, and plus it won't be dull because technically he has multiple personalities. So one personality Hank gets bored with, talk to the other dude. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
If you want to call being possessed by a pharaoh from 10,000 years ago,
Yeah.
Different personality, sure.
Right. Legitimately, but like I like playing trading card games. Like it's something I enjoy doing.
Huh.
It's expensive, but I enjoy doing it when I can.
Right.
And so Yugi seems like the type of person that I would naturally hang out with. He's kind. He seems like the type of person, if I don't understand, he'd explain it to me. And so he just seems like a fun guy. The rest of the crew, they're cool. I think I'd want to punch Joey in the face a couple times. I'm just like, you're
Don't
not
we
from
all?
Brooklyn. So
Before you ask your next question, we have one from the audience.
Okay.
Francisco from Retro Rewind Podcast asks for Dallas, who wins, Gundam or Yu-Gi-Oh?
Which Gundam? That's our question back to him.
I don't think it matters. Just giant
Gundam.
robots fighting guys with playing cards.
Well, I mean, after seeing the dual decks in this one, I mean, it might be up in the air.
But those are holograms.
You saw that man fly across the room, and I'm sorry,
Very, very well made holograms.
spoiler for
Yeah.
everyone. The Shadow Realm was actually the America's way of going, oh, we can't let people die. Yeah, they went to the Shadow Realm. They didn't die at the end of this card game.
Yeah.
But you just never see them again.
I still don't understand.
Believe me, I'm going to be going into this in depth when we get to trivia.
Oh my gosh.
Because I had questions because it'd been a long time, and
Don't we all?
I was like, how did this get started?
Oh, man.
Wow!
Is the trivia going to
The
involve...
story of how the manga came about is a trip.
How about season 0? How about that?
Oh, that's how I first knew about it.
Oh, my man.
Season 0? What?
Yes.
We will get there when we get there.
Okay.
I don't want to jump ahead too quickly.
Okay. All
So,
right.
continue your
All right,
questions.
interrogation.
Assuming Dallas is done answering is whether Gundam or Yu-Gi-Oh wins in a battle.
All right. So, do you know the with the 2022 movie season coming out or continuing as it is, what is the anime movie you were looking to that's in theaters or streaming somewhere? What is the movie you were looking forward to the most? Animated movie.
Animated movie coming out in
Mhm.
2022.
Yes.
I really, even though I have not watched any of the series yet, I really want to watch Dragon Ball Superhero.
You haven't watched any of Dragon Ball Super
So I'm
yet?
trying to let my wife catch up, and
Fair.
we only have so much time in the day, plus everything
Fair.
else we do with Geek Devotions. We watched some episodes, and I am enjoying it. The bits I've seen, I have one of the movies, and but I don't.
Are you watching Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Z Kai?
I can't. Where can I watch Kai legally?
I mean, I have it on Blu-ray.
I mean, I
And
might.
I believe it's on Crunchyroll.
All right, if it's on Crunchyroll, we may go ahead and jump onto that so we can fast forward through things because, oof, that
Not to
filler.
mention the voice acting is a ton better in Kai.
This is true.
Oh my gosh.
This is true. So yeah, Dragon Ball
But I-
Super, or actually, I forgot this one was coming out, but the superhero dog one, the DC.
Oh yes.
Yes,
That just looks
Super
stupid
Pets. League of
fun.
Super Pets.
Pets. Yes.
That's one I'm looking forward to.
It just
Yeah.
looks fun.
Keanu Reeves is Batman. Yes. Yes.
Which just worked for some
All I can say
reason.
is yes.
There's a part of me that still wishes Nick Cage was playing Superman.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
That would have been funny
That would have been
since
ironic.
he was originally going to
Slated
be
to-
Superman at one point.
Right?
Yeah.
That would have been good. That would have been a good one.
Oh my gosh. So here's another one.
Okay.
So if you obviously you have a fondness for the nerdy geek culture,
Right.
Hint Geek Devotions.
Yes.
So if you had one comic book character, if it had been adapted into a live action movie or not, animated, what have you, and an animated character that you had to be like, they had to fight or something, like who those characters would be.
All right.
Go.
Comic book character versus anime character in a live action movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Oof.
Live action or animated, whatever.
Okay. I always want to see a good representation of Cable from the comics. Because Cable's one of my favorite comic book characters of all times. And so and Deadpool 2 was a tragedy. And so
I'm just saying the Cable and Deadpool comics were a lot better than that movie.
yes. And so Cable,
I still haven't seen it.
and then have Cable fight. I'm trying to think who would be a good mashup with that, with who Cable is in anime itself. Man, that's a tough one for me. My brain just stopped functioning. 3, 2, 1, reset.
What's the name of the what's the name of the main character from Full Metal Panic? Because that's the one that's coming to my mind.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. I was thinking about that too. At the same time, just because it'll be fun, Ed from Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, that would be good.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That would be pretty neat. And so
That would be interesting. Cool. So who do you think between Cable and Ed, who would win?
my money would probably be on Cable because he's a strategist. Ed, though, with his alchemy abilities, might jack some things up. But push comes to shove, Cable just will sacrifice a little bit of his body to the techno-organic virus and just, basically mind wipe Ed with his psychic abilities.
Okay. Right. Cool. Because for me, I'm not really growing up because I didn't really read comics.
Yeah.
Because I was always ooh, pretty pictures. Because I'm an art guy, and having reading disorders was really tough for me.
Yeah,
growing up. So the only real experience I have of Cable is watching the animated series back in the 90s.
Yes.
The X-Men series.
Yeah. Huh?
The X-Men series.
Yeah, the X-Men series, where it was I'm Cable. I'm from the future. I work alone. That thing. That's the only thing I got from the guy. I was like, okay, you're kind of a jerk.
Oh my gosh. I get that. Totally.
I know he's a lot more complex than that.
He is. You need to check out the X-Force comics where he leads the X-Force. And he's really interesting. He is kind of like this lone wolf, the guy, but at the same time, he's like one of those, the future's crap. Let me train up some teenagers so that it's a little bit better, and so they survive.
Okay.
So he's Zordon?
Yeah.
Only
teenagers with attitudes.
Only he actually does stuff, and the kids already had powers.
Okay.
Okay, that's a difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think of it he's more of an edgy, more effective Professor Xavier.
Gotcha.
Okay. Gotcha. And one more. What was your favorite cartoon growing up?
Oh man, growing up, favorite,
and it can't be an anime.
And it can't
be an anime.
Cannot be an anime. All right, that's fair.
Yes.
My favorite cartoon growing up. It's a toss-up between the X-Men cartoon that we just talked about and Batman the Animated Series.
Oh,
good choices, both.
Good choice.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they both have
Fox Kids is very happy with your choice.
Yes,
they are. Hey, man, I had 3 channels on my TV, okay? So
amen to that, brother.
I understand this.
I had two.
I technically had 11, but most of those were repeats. So
if I had the aluminum foil just right, I got 4, and I was in a good place that day.
Oh,
but
very nice.
But like X-Men and Batman the Animated Series, I think they did a great job balancing the keeping it appropriate for a younger age, at the same time something that's complex that as you got older you could appreciate more. And then just stylistically they were beautiful. I mean, they were just really well done stories, and until the later seasons of X-Men it was spot on. Batman, until they made that weird switch over to the animated adventures of Batman, it was cool. And then
because they wanted to match Superman,
yeah.
and plus they got rights back from Fox.
yeah. So
Or they had to make a new show, but they still tried to keep it in continuity. I'm still not 100% sure on how that story works.
It's still continuity. It's still continuity. So
Quotation
kind of
marks.
go, continuity. I watched an entire channel on YouTube that's literally all about continuity in the DCAU,
Wow.
which is like, okay, guys, you're driving yourself nuts. Either or. So I wanted to bring this into be like, if Drew, if you had to pick, be like, if it was between X-Men the Animated Series and Batman the Animated Series, which one would you pick?
Oh, you are evil.
Yes, I am.
He's an
You
evil.
must choose and choose wisely.
Can't call death.
Okay, I'm just going to say I think Batman the Animated Series was written better, so I'm going with that.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I would do the same. I absolutely love Batman the Animated. Don't get me wrong. I still loved.
Yeah, I love X-Men.
Still love X-Men.
But you can tell that the same writing team who would go on to write the first couple seasons of Power Rangers wrote X-Men.
Not to mention, like the later season of X-Men fell off. Like the writing changed up, the
It did.
art was bad. And
See, I don't remember what the last couple seasons of X-Men are like,
it
and I'm
wasn't
only
good.
just now going back through it for the first time since I was a child. So
make sure you watch them in the right order, because in the last couple seasons things are out of order because they couldn't get the finished product back from the production house in time for premiering.
dude,
Really?
the first season has episodes out of order.
That is true.
I have learned this because I was trying to figure out earlier this week, why did y'all rebuild the X-Mansion the second time in this season? Y'all just
True.
had it rebuilt. How did
Very,
it get destroyed
very
again?
true.
Oh,
That's right.
these two episodes went back here. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because like going back, be like watching the shows we loved as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Because there again, I started rewatching like Thundercats, because Thundercats was my jam when I was little.
Heck yes.
He-Man's great. But when you're watching from an adult perspective, you have like you have the nostalgia trip just going over you, but then you're watching it as an adult and you're like, you appreciate everything that was going on, or at the same time you're watching, it's like, what did I like the show again? This was not a very good show.
It had a good theme song.
It had a
That's
good
why I
theme.
liked
Yeah.
it.
Exactly.
My cereal was the freshest at that point. That's why I liked it.
There we go.
It was on right before Power Rangers came on. That's why I sat through Bobby's World.
That's the only reason I watched
I
Bob's
couldn't-
World.
as a kid, I couldn't stand Bobby's World. I could
Who
not
could?
stand-
The
It's one
only
of those
thing
shows I don't know why it was on air.
The only thing from Bobby's World I remember, and it's the funniest thing I remember from it, was there's a moment where his mom sends him up to go wash his hands, and she yells at him to wash his hands. So he goes up there, and you hear him talking, you hear the water running, and his hands are behind his head, and he's washing his hands. And he goes, I don't know why mommy always tells me to wash my hands, wash behind my ears. Why can't I wash them in front of me like a normal kid? And I just died.
Yeah, there are elements of that.
There are
in the
elements
show.
that are really good. Be like it's Howie Mandel who did that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's why there's at least some comedy in there.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway,
Yeah. Anyways, I think the interrogation is over.
then we have one more question for Dallas. What have you been watching?
Yes.
I've been watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Entangled this week. I've been watching Bleach on Hulu. Kind of reliving the early 2000s anime era lately. It's just something Celeste and I picked up. We're marching through. We're on episode 109, 110. And
Yeah, you're after where I dropped off.
yeah. So we're trying to get to episode 117 so we can watch the first movie. And then I think we're about to go watch at some point in the next couple weeks, we're going to watch the live action movie, which I was told is really good. So been watching a lot of that. Been watching Spy Family. Hello, that's an amazing show.
Love that show.
Yes.
Protect Anya at all costs. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
That is an amazing show. And then also we've been watching. We just finished watching Moon Knight. They just wrapped up Moon Knight. That's what we've been watching.
Nice.
I still need. Obviously, I still need to catch up with Moon Knight and a lot of the Marvel Cinematic TV series.
Mhm.
I haven't watched all of them. I know Drew's glaring at me. It's like,
I'm not glaring at you. I know you're slow.
hey,
Dang, dirty.
So you have. Did you ever get around to Mandalorian?
No, I haven't yet.
That's what I thought.
I'm slow at watching things. Okay, I get distracted very easily.
Yes.
No kid.
No shame, bro.
Anyway.
I'm that way with video games.
Jacob, what have you been watching?
All right. So ever since I have been watching, everything else. I'm kidding.
I have pennies. I will throw them.
Where am I?
Anyway, what have you been watching?
What have I been watching? So I can't be like for the life of me. What was the help me out, Drew? What was the show that we watched at Drew Chase's on Sunday?
Now you're confusing me with Chase.
I do it all the time.
That's fair.
He's a different shape than I am.
I know this, but what was the show we were watching?
We were watching Log Horizon.
Log Horizon. Thank you. Thank you.
What is happening? Is he square?
No. Okay, so
Is he an octangle?
do you know Mark? Do you know Mark Lowry?
Yeah,
Do you know the comedian Mark Lowry?
I do.
You know that joke he has where he says when he and his dad stand together, they look like the number 10?
Oh,
That's how me and Chase would look like if we were standing next to each other.
I got you.
He's like, yeah, that's a good description. So yeah, we watched Log Horizon, which is a very good show. It's very much be like in-depth world building, kind of like what I would describe with Lord of the Rings or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
where it's just like high world building and character and the whole bit.
Despite the fact we have to stop every 15 minutes and explain MMOs to you like every time they do something that's MMO-ish.
I'd be like, I don't even say anything. They stop and explain it. It's like, okay.
Because there's points in time where we're sitting there going, dude, I really appreciate how they're actually using MMO tactics.
And I'm like, what in the world are you talking about? Because there again, I'm not a gamer.
MMOs, you have to be a special type of gamer to be into those.
Apparently.
You also
Anyway,
need a lot of time.
anyways. So we watched that. I think we got to episode like 14.
I have no idea what episode number we're on. Otherwise, I would have passed all y'all by now. Because that's that good a show.
I would agree. It is very good. So I watched a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh. I have opinions about this show. Definitely coming from someone who didn't grow up watching it to an adult who's watching it for a review.
Right.
And I'll get into my thoughts on the TV show when we get into the review proper.
Right.
So I've been watching a lot of Star versus the Force of Evil on Disney Plus, and I thoroughly enjoy this show. There's some things like, what in the world? Be like, they kind of put these story points in, and they haven't touched them yet. I'm like, are you gonna get back to that? And be like, it's right over here. It's right over here. Be like, touch it. Come on, do something with it. And they don't.
You have to wait till the end of the season.
Apparently.
I guess. I don't know. I didn't watch the show.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly.
Much.
I'm in season 2 right now. Ever since I'm on vacation right now, be like just binging it. It's just like, it's so good.
Right.
And it's fun. It's different. And it's definitely more. It's a more modern animation movie and American animation. And so with the current or that era Kyle Arts art style. Am I right?
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah, you got it right.
Okay, yeah, I was trying to confirm I wasn't saying something wrong.
If you had, I'd have corrected you.
Thank you. I'm always double checking myself because I don't want to say something wrong. Or sometimes I will say something wrong and this guy will politely correct me.
It is what it is.
That is true. That is true. No, not the hand. Anyways, so I've been watching a lot of that. Obviously, watching Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure season 2. I've already watched all of the season. I just absolutely love that season. Love it. Series. Love it to death. It's so good.
In case anyone's wondering why we decided this one, Heath.
Yeah, because Disney Plus, or Disney in general, Disney Channel just did not give this series any love whatsoever. And
gave it 3 seasons worth of love. So
but
eventually, from what you told me,
yeah, there's a lot of like they put it out like it took them 6 months to do this and 6 months to do this. It was off air for like a year and a half. But
remind me to go over how Weird Mageddon hit on Gravity Falls, and we'll talk.
Oh,
that took a year for those 4 episodes to come out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, Gravity Falls is good too. Love Gravity Falls.
That's on the list eventually.
Mm-hmm. And I discovered a YouTube channel that I absolutely just love. It's called the History Chronicles. I'm a huge history nut. I love history, and so there's to be like it's kind of a spinoff from another show, and it's the host. He's primarily the voiceover, the voice, and he's got this very very eloquent British voice. It's very it works perfect for what the platform is. And
right.
It's just be like all kinds of history. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta watch all of this. This is so good.
Right.
And it just be like all the history nerdy stuff in me is just like, I gotta get it all. I gotta catch them all. I gotta get the cards, whatever. But either or. I just wanted to plug the History Chronicles on YouTube. They're really good if you're a history nerd. So yeah, that's all I've been watching. So what about you, Drew?
Well, like I said earlier, I am going through X-Men again. I'm almost finished with season 1. I think I've got like 1 episode left.
Oh,
because I literally just finished Days of Future Past. So yeah, that's where I'm at there. I'm not surprised, but slightly disappointed. Neither one of y'all mentioned what I consider to be the breakout romantic comedy of the year, anime-wise. That being Love After World Domination.
I've yet to watch it.
You've told me about this several times.
Yeah, for those who don't know, this is the Power Rangers Romeo and Juliet is what it looks like it's going to be.
Of course. I'm
just hoping it doesn't have that tragic an ending. But I am absolutely loving that show.
Good.
Also, I am working my way back through Ascendance of a Bookworm. I read 3 of these books, and I was planning on finishing those before I ever watched the anime, and then I just decided to give up and watch the anime.
Okay.
But I'm enjoying that, and I think other than that, that's pretty much what I've been watching.
Okay. Cool.
We got any news?
News. Let me pull up the news real fast. All right, so this one was interesting. So I'm pretty sure most of our audience, and I'm pretty sure Dallas is familiar with the movie Gremlins.
Yeah.
Okay, so be like, obviously everyone be like, for most people know, be like, Gremlins 2, the new batch, which were just fantastic movies. So apparently,
I didn't watch them till I was an adult, so I don't get it.
Aww.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is. It's a great movie. You haven't seen it, go watch it. It's on HBO Max, I think, right now. If you are subscribed to that. So speaking of HBO Max, they're doing a upcoming HBO Max original series, Gremlins: The Secret of the Mogwais. And there's really not a whole lot of information about this. They tell who the cast is, they don't even tell what the story is about. They're just telling me like, oh, it's directed by this, produced by this, blah, 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 blah. So it's just more like, hey, we're getting a Gremlins animated series on HBO Max, which sounds fun. All right, so Pixar has revealed their new their 27th featured film, Elemental, which is to be released on June 16th, 2023. If you want information about it, go to go look it up. It seems like I thought I put the premise on here, but apparently I didn't. Did I? No, I did not.
What if the elements had feelings?
Yeah, pretty much. There it is. All right. When fire, water, land, and air residents live together, they
come together and form Captain Planet.
So true. So here's the synopsis for everybody. All right. The film journeys along an unlikely pair, Emery and Wade, in a city where fire, water, land, and air. Yo, Joe!
But no heart.
No heart, apparently. Residents live together. A fury young woman and a go with the flow guy are about to discover something elemental. how much do they actually have in common? That's the synopsis for this. So yeah, sounds interesting. I have no idea what they're really playing for this, but it sounds interesting. It's something new that's Pixar. Pixar's always very good. Pixar in some ways is I have mixed feelings about Pixar. I've always had mixed feelings about Pixar.
Yeah.
So all right, so going on to another one. This is coming from Apple TV. This is exclusive from Apple TV. This teaser was released on Friday the 13th. And it's not a horror. It's not horror or anything.
Wow.
Missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity there. All right. So they put out a teaser for the upcoming feature Luck, which is an Apple original film through Skydance Studios or Skydance Animation. Apparently it's about a lucky cat named Bob, who's a black cat, with a charming Scottish accent. Takes us to the Surefoot tour of the industry land of Luck. Luck is set to premiere worldwide on Apple TV on April 6th. Synopsis: Lucky is a story of Sam Goodfield, the unluckiest person in the world. When she stumbles upon the never-before-seen land of Luck, Sam sets out on a quest to bring some good luck home to her best friend. But the humans not allowed in this world. Her only chance to team up with the magical friends who live there. So that is all the info I have on news.
All right. Getting into our spoiler-free thoughts on Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions. Dallas, you're our guest. What are your spoiler-free thoughts on this film?
Spoiler-free thoughts. It's a good continuation of the series, in my opinion. A good wrap up of the series as a whole. Like if you watch the entire series all the way through, there's some important. There's something really big that happens at the end of the movie. At the end of the show that I was worried about this movie ruining. I'll get into it later when we talk about like what we liked and didn't like necessarily. And I appreciate though that they didn't spoil what happened at the end of the series in this movie, because oftentimes because this is a sequel series, this takes place a year after the show ended, and so when they do those kind of things, they have a tendency to go, let's make up stuff, and they kind of did, but it was worked. But there was a key aspect of the ending of the series that they did not screw up, and I appreciated that. I really did. I felt like it held to pun the phrase, the heart of the show.
Touche.
Thank you.
I have to admit that I did not watch the last season of Yu-Gi-Oh! I ended at the Domino City arc.
Right.
Or Battle City arc, I guess technically, is what it was called. You know, about around the time of the fight on the blimp. That's the card game on the top of the blimp. That's where I checked out.
Right.
Just because of age, and I was more interested in other things.
Sure.
In high school, I think, happened. But I admittedly did not know about how that ended until a couple seconds into the movie, and they're explaining the backstory.
Right.
So of those moments, I thought they handled it very well, because I don't think I was spoiled, but I learned just what I needed to know.
Yeah.
But other than that, I thought it was a great continuation. It's just as ridiculous as I remember Yu-Gi-Oh! Being.
Oh my gosh.
And I still don't understand how you get to a school for card battling or playing a children's card game on motorcycles after this. But,
no. That's another conversation.
That's another conversation. But I thought it was done very well. I enjoyed it. It was a fun movie. I think it was a little more, shall we say, focused than Digimon Adventure Tri was. This is kind of doing the same thing.
A little bit.
I said a little more focused.
A little bit.
Why are you crossing your arms?
I don't know. A little bit.
Because this actually feels like it tells a good story, and there's not any dropped plot points that I noticed.
Mhm.
So yeah, I enjoyed it. Jacob, what are your thoughts?
Let's see. Growing up,
You were a Digimon fan. We know this.
I was a Digimon fan, yes. I remember seeing something about Yu-Gi-Oh when I was growing up or in my teenage years, and I was like, "This looks like the dumbest thing ever. I'm not going to touch it." let's be frank here. I saw it and I was like, "This looks so dumb. I'm not watching this." I think I tried to watch one episode. I was like, "No, thank you. This is not my cup of tea. No, thanks." I'd be like, "You can have your crumpets and everything." Be like, "I'm going to do something else." So in review in heads up for this film, obviously going into this, it was Dallas's idea of putting the hashtag out,
Yes,
kind of challenging us to do this, and that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
yes, indeed.
Definitely when you get people we were getting rated with, be like, whatever. What was the hashtag again? I can't remember.
Give us
I
Yu-Gi-Oh.
think it was like watch Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, watch
That's what
Yu-Gi-Oh.
it came down because it was right after watching Kanto.
That is true.
sorry, I said that wrong. In Kanto.
No, it was hashtag give us
Which, thank
Encanto,
you
then
again,
hashtag
Dallas.
give
That
us
was
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Really cool. Kind of pushes to do that.
Do what?
It was give
Dallas?
us Yu-Gi-Oh.
Give us Yu-Gi-Oh. That's what it was.
My
Thank you.
apologies.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for doing that, because that's been really cool. That is interesting when you can get interaction from the audience, definitely from other fellow podcasters.
And that, admittedly, that is part of the reason why we're doing this.
Exactly. For context, what was going on behind the scenes. So I'm at Walmart because I like to do a little toy hunting every once in a while.
You mean Voldemort?
Voldemort, yes.
It's the
Voldemort.
store that shall not be named.
Yeah, Voldemort. Yeah,
It's his company's competitor.
not really competitor. No, it's not competitor at all. So I'm at Voldemort, and I'm just looking through. I'm looking through the movie section. He was always doing that, and they've got the new anime section. I'm like, they've got a Yu-Gi-Oh movie. I'm like, what if we do this one? So
by the way, by anime section in that video department, we're talking about 3 spots on a shelf.
no, be like, no. This is like an entire section, just anime.
Sorry, the whole shelf.
The whole. The whole
there is
show.
not a lot of space where they can put movies in that store.
There's not. But this was a store in Tyler.
Oh, never mind. It's Tyler. I thought
wasn't this area. No,
I thought you saw it here in Jayville.
No. But so I saw the movie and I was like, you know what? What if I send that to Dallas and send it to Drew and be like, and Dallas was like, dude, game on, let's do this. And Drew was like, okay, let's do this. And so this is where this happened.
As long as we can fit it into everyone's schedule,
exactly.
We might as well.
And so I'm very grateful we did this, because this was a very interesting film. And I bought it there, and then like I stepped over like a minute, and I saw the entire series of Neon Genesis Evangelion on Blu-ray. And
there's a lot of orange.
That's
juice.
a very different anime.
Yes, very different. Very different.
A touch more pretentious.
Just a little bit.
A touch bit more depression too.
Yeah,
just a little bit. I think it's part of what I like about it.
This is why I say it's in my future at some point, because I can't see him not making me watch it.
Oh yeah, we'll watch it. We might do the rebuilds.
I've heard those are worse.
Yeah, they get the fourth and final one is so baffling confusing. It's not even funny, because I watched it while I was over at my parents' place.
Right.
Over, I think.
Well, the thing is, I'm going to have to watch it eventually, because apparently the guy who directed that and also directed Shin Godzilla is making up a whole Shin cinematic universe, and he's including Evangelion in it, along with his Kamen Rider and Godzilla.
I heard about this.
Well, you know, when he did
all the other stuff.
When he did Shin Godzilla, he a lot of his camera angles, live action camera angles, were emulations of what he did in Evangelion. Like he has he has a very distinct artistic style with his shots.
Okay,
which is what made Shin Godzilla so interesting to me, was because they're not shots you normally see in live action films, so it was fascinating.
Anyway, back to Yu-Gi-Oh.
All right, so back to Yu-Gi-Oh. So I watched the film and I was like, wow, this is really impressive for someone who doesn't really know of the large canon of the Yu-Gi-Oh series. I started watching a little bit of it, and honestly, I'm watching this is like, okay. I cannot get past the cheesiness of this show. It's like seriously, they're doing this. The point where I broke. I'm watching. I think it was episode 6 where they get invited to the island and
Duelist Kingdom,
huh?
Duelist Kingdom,
whatever it's called. And the little tweeb be like, who is
Bakura,
something like that. The little chubby guy.
Oh,
the little guy.
Mokuba.
I don't know who he is.
You've gone over everybody I can think of.
Well, either way,
unless it's one of the. It's either the bug guy or the dinosaur guy.
Probably the bug guy.
No. He's short. He's got glasses, blonde hair.
Bug guy.
Bug guy. Okay, bug guy.
I don't remember.
He's the bug catcher in Pokemon.
Be like, they're on the boat, and he's just picking on Yugi for some reason.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you got these cards in which he beat Kaiba with. He literally throws them off the boat, and then Jersey guy goes after the cards. I'm like, wait a minute. Be like, hold on. Be like, you just let this guy do this. Be like, okay, these are from your grandfather. These are priceless cards. You do nothing to this guy. It's like, okay, you throw my cards over deck. I'm going to put you in the deck. But you deck out the ship, and you're paying for these cards. I'm going to throw you into the ocean. You're going to grab them for me. I'm going to haul you back.
Well, admittedly, he does.
That's where I stopped.
Spoiler alert: he does beat the tail off that kid.
Okay, good.
In an epic
Well,
manner.
that's some good things come out of that. But either or, going back to the movie at hand, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was one of those films where they give you enough information in this film where it's not you're so overloaded with information you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very much outsider friendly
Mm-hmm.
kind of movie that gives you the information you need to understand who these characters are, what's going on, what is the deal with Yugi. Or they don't explain everything, but it's it just gives you enough information where you enjoy the film, you enjoy what they're doing, and I found the conclusion very well done.
Mm-hmm.
The animation of the movie is so well done. The use of shading and lighting in this movie is well done. And I've really enjoyed it for someone who didn't really watch the show growing up
Mm-hmm.
and watched it as an adult and really didn't like it. But I appreciate for what it is. But for this movie, oh my gosh, very well done.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that is my spoiler-free thoughts on Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions.
Then we will jump into spoiling this thing when we get just to the other side of our bumpers. Don't forget that you can download. Don't forget that you can. Don't forget that you can listen to us record the podcast live every Tuesday over on our Facebook page, The Cellcast, our Twitch channel, The Cellcast Gaming, and on YouTube at Cellcast. Also, don't forget to join our Patreon if you would like to support us monetarily. At $1, you'll get our everlasting thanks. At our $5 tier, you can get some artwork from Jacob. And on our $10 tier, you can get bloopers for every episode we've released that I've remembered to release them for. And you can get commentaries from different movies. So come check us out over there if you would like to support us financially. Every other week, join the Retro Rewind Pod as they travel back 15 or more years along the entertainment space-time continuum in their mission to review movies and games, establishing what is still worth your time today. Expect fun banter and trivial insights from Francisco and Paul, the Master Interrupter Powers, and rotating guest hosts who are all out of time. Do you like Star Wars? I don't just mean the original trilogy. Along with that, I mean the prequels, the sequels, the anthologies, the animated shows, and of course, who doesn't like Baby Yoda? Well, if you've been in the fandom for any length of time, you know how toxic the fandom can get. And if you'd like to be able to discuss a galaxy far, far away in a much more positive light, might I suggest searching out The Outer Rim, a Facebook group dedicated to all of Star Wars, and check out their YouTube channel, which you can easily find at Pop Americana, which the podcast you're currently listening to is also a part of. To find that and more, check out the link in the description. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions. Listener discretion is advised, or you'll go to the Shadow Realm.
No! Not the Shadow Realm!
Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions was written and directed by Satoshi Kuwabara. And he has written, he's been doing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff recently, within the last couple of years. But he's also written and he directed many episodes of the Quintessential Quintuplets, which was an anime I tried for a while.
Okay.
It was another one of those harem-esque shows where you knew that he had to pick one of them, but they're all quintuplets. So even though you saw his bride in the flashbacks, you don't know which one it is.
One of those things. And it's like,
yeah,
Rachel or Leah. Hello.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you got over your head. Just walk away.
It was also written by Masahiro Hiko Kubo, who also wrote some episodes of Naruto Shippuden. I'm sure I said that name wrong because I never watched any Naruto. So I don't know how to say any of the secondary suffix names. And of course, it's based on the manga Yu-Gi-Oh! By Kazuki Takahashi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this isn't based on the card game. The card game is based on the manga, if you didn't know this.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Which doesn't look like the way it would work, but that's how it worked. More on that in a minute.
Because money, kids.
Pretty much.
Make money rain.
Getting into the cast, the voice of Yugi Moto and Pharaoh Atem was Dan Green. And in the English dub of the anime Sonic X, he played Knuckles the Echidna.
Oh.
By the way, you're going to see a bit of a pattern with these voice casts because a lot of them did other 4Kids stuff.
That makes sense.
Seto Kaiba was voiced by Eric Stewart, and he was both Brock and James in 4Kids' dub of Pokemon. Joey Wheeler, Solomon Muto, and Master Shin were voiced by Wayne Grayson, and he also voiced Michelangelo in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2003.
Rock on. I love that show.
Taya Gardner was voiced by Amy Birnbaum, who also voiced Charmy Bee in Sonic X. Tristan Taylor was voiced by Greg Abbey, who voiced Raphael in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2003.
Excellent. Cowabunga!
Bakura was voiced by Ted Lewis, who voiced Giovanni in Pokemon, the leader of Team Rocket.
Oh, okay.
The one that enslaved Mewtwo, by the way.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
He also was the voice of King Dedede and Escargoon in Kirby, Right Back at Ya.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just gotta love a name like Escargoon.
Yeah, Escargoon.
Yes.
Okay. It sounds like a French delicacy.
He is a snail.
Oh, okay.
A giant snail.
That makes sense.
That's King Dedede's goon. Anyway.
Okay.
Mokuba Kaiba was voiced by Tara Sands, and she also voiced Kari Kamiya in Digimon.
Okay, cool.
Duke Devlin was voiced by Mark Thompson, who voiced Casey Jones in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2003.
Nice.
And I saw this one and had to mention it since Dallas is here. Degwin Soto Zabi in Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin.
Yes. The Zabi family. Regal
I
and
actually
ignorant
started
at the same
watching that.
time.
It's really good.
Huh?
I actually started watching that series on, I think it's
Brother.
Hulu, I believe. Hulu or Netflix. I can't remember
Hulu
which.
had it for a while.
But it was like, wow, this is really good. And then it just cut off midstream about everything. It was like, what? You're like, what's going on?
It's probably when it goes to the second series, because I noticed there were two different series.
Yeah.
Right.
That was called Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin.
Yeah, they're like seasons.
Because that was good. That was good storytelling.
Oh, yeah. They were basically like mini movies that they broke into seasons.
Yeah.
Aigami and Diva, since they're the same character, was voiced by Daniel J. Edwards, and he was the voice of Jackie Tonomura in Mobile Suit Gundam Seed.
Oh, wow. Oh, goodness.
And Sarah, Diva's sister. I was not really sure if they were actually family or if they were just adopted family.
Either or. I think they're biological siblings. I think.
Right, but she was voiced by Laurie Himes, and she was the voice of Letitia in Lupin the Third: The First.
Oh, neat.
Oh, yeah. We recently reviewed that.
That's such a good one too.
That was a good movie. If you haven't heard our review on that, go check it out.
So, getting into the Kingdom Hearts connections, I'm going to give you a little bit of knowledge here in that of actual Kingdom Hearts games, none of the English cast is in it.
Okay.
But on the Japanese dub,
okay,
Kakuhiro Yamaji, who is the voice of Bakura's father in this,
okay,
is the voice of Sid Highwind in Kingdom Hearts. Rika Matsumoto, who's the voice of Bakura in the Japanese dub of this, is the voice of Meg in Kingdom Hearts, Hercules' love interest.
Of course.
Kenjiro Tsuda, who played Seto Kaiba in Yu-Gi-Oh!, was also Lushu in Kingdom Hearts. And Kana Hanazawa, who was Sarah in the Japanese dub, is Envy in Kingdom Hearts. But because we kind of decided that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is now a Kingdom Hearts game because Sora is in it.
Yes.
Mark Thompson, the voice of Duke Devlin in this, is also the voice of Alolan Executor and Kyurem in Smash Bros. Ultimate. Billy Bob Thompson, who is the voice of Scud in this, was the voice of Greninja in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Laurie Himes, who's the voice of Sarah in Yu-Gi-Oh!, is the voice of Abra, in Smash Brothers. And also Smash Brothers, but on the Japanese side of things, Hiroki Takahashi, who voiced Katsuya Jinochi, who we know better as Joey Wheeler. He voiced Ryu in Smash Brothers in Japan.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Which brings me to the end of the cast and Kingdom Hearts connections. What do we got in info and stuff?
All right, so info and stuff. On IMDb. Sorry, I always mess that up.
Not always.
Not always. But probably about 40% of the time, 40% of the time I mess that up. Either or. This is 6.9 out of 10. You're able to watch it. You can rent it on Amazon Prime Video. Question, where did you watch it?
I watched it on Amazon Prime, and I didn't have to rent it. It was part of my subscription.
Ditto.
What about you, Dallas?
Ditto.
That's a Pokemon.
Yeah, that's Pokemon.
It was kind of awkward. The eyes were just kind of staring at me the entire time. Wasn't sure what was happening. I was like, come on, do it already, stupid thing. So threw a ball at it, and all of a sudden it worked. No, I watched it on Amazon Prime.
Okay. Yeah, obviously I watched it on the Blu-ray because I picked it up.
Yeah.
Just obviously, because I explained that earlier.
Yeah. Quick question. How long till that makes a trip to half price?
Oh, it probably won't.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
It probably won't.
I was just checking.
I enjoyed it that
Let's
much.
go, brother.
It's probably one of those things like I'll watch it every couple of
every once in a while.
Every once in a while. It's not one of those movies that I watch like every year.
Yeah.
But it's like Apollo 13. You'll pop it in. It's like, oh, I remember this film.
Considering
really
how many movies you watch a year, I'm surprised you have time to watch anything else.
That is true. That's why I can't watch all the Marvel stuff because I'm so busy with my own movies.
I got you, man.
Fair enough.
Anyway,
Right,
so either or. Production was by Studio Gallop. Thank you. Distributed by Toei. Yeah, Toie.
EI, but it's Toei.
Yeah, Toei. Yeah,
The same people who do Sentai and Kamen Rider and
very true.
Dragon Ball Z. And
In my defense, be like
it's an odd word.
Toei and what was the other one?
Toho. They
I-
look
I-
a lot alike, I'll admit.
They do look a lot alike, and it's like, okay, which one is it again? But it's Toei.
One has a cat,
Toei.
one doesn't.
One has a cat, one has a lizard.
Okay.
Giant mutated lizard.
Roar.
It doesn't save you on your
Either or.
insurance.
It was All right, so it was released on April 23rd, 2016. All right, box office. The movie was released in theaters on July. Like I said before, it was released in 4KX and MK4D screens on September 24th of the same year, before being released in 2007 to promote the upcoming film.
17?
Yeah, 2017. I'm sorry. Oddly enough, the Six Flags Theater Park began to promote a campaign for the film from November 19th from November 19th, 2016 to July 1st, 2017.
Now, this is in Japan, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah.
I was like, man, Six Flags was
I
on
would
it.
think so.
Considering that's when the Six Flags over here was like going through dire straits.
True. Very true. All right. Yeah, so apparently it had some collaboration with the Six Flags Entertainment Corporation. The film was released in North America on July 27th, 2017 to February 9th of the same year, offering a limited run, limited edition trading cards for attendees, while Mega Entertainment screened the film for a limited time in the UK in February 2017. Let's see. Eighth Arts, sorry, I got stuck on word. Eight Arts later listed a English sub version screening for the United States. The Dark Side of the Mentioned opened to 137 theaters and debuted at number 6 in the Japanese box office charts, earning 133 million yen. Translated to that is $1.2 million in the United States.
Mhm.
In the first weekend, the film earned 800 million yen, which translates to 7.5 million after its screening ended. Yeah, this movie made a lot of money. Let's just say that. A lot of money. Let's see, the UK screened over, or its total was $171,000, and so on and so forth. It made some pretty good cheddar. It's a theatrical release, and going into its home release, the film was released on DVD and Blu-ray on March 8th, 2017 in Japan. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Transcend game manga was bundled with the release. Manga Entertainment released the film on Blu-ray disc and DVD on March 29th, 2017 in the United Kingdom. Lionsgate released the film on Blu-ray and DVD and digital HD in June 27, 2017 in the United States and Canada. And Anchor Point Entertainment also released the film on June 13th, 2017. So, yeah, that's all I have out for info and stuff.
All right. Getting into the summary. As our story begins, Kaiba Corp is doing research on the Millennium Puzzle. Suddenly, a mysterious cloaked man is seen at the underground shrine as one of Kaiba's bodyguards tells him that he is behind schedule and to speed up his progress. 6 months after the departure of the Pharaoh, 1 year in the dub, Yugimoto and his closest friends are preparing to graduate from Domino High School and are talking about what they will do in the future. Meanwhile, Seto Kaiba has commissioned an excavation to retrieve the disassembled Millennium Puzzle from the ruins of the Millennium Chamber. The item had previously housed the spirits of his longtime rival, the Pharaoh Atem, whom he hopes to return to life in order to settle their ancient score. The excavation is interrupted by Diva, who faces Kaiba in a game of duel monsters and steals 2 pieces of the recovered puzzle. He keeps one fragment and gives the other to his younger sister Sarah, who passes it on to Yugimoto, as he's the only one who can reassemble the puzzle, being the modern-day alternate version of Pharaoh Atem. Diva, under the alias Agami, forges a friendship with Yugi and the rest of his friends. He takes interest in Yugi's friend Ryo Bakura, whom he believes is responsible for the death of his father-like mentor Shadi. Using his quantum cube, he transports Bakura and Joey Wheeler to another dimension. Bakura apologizes and explains that the evil spirit of the Millennium Ring had been responsible. The two are interrupted by Manny, who has become warped by the evil energies of the Millennium Ring. When Yugi, Taya Gardner, Tristan Taylor find Agami, Agami reveals himself to be Diva and his plan to eliminate Bakura as well as Yugi. As Diva almost disintegrates the three of them into another dimension, Joey unknowingly returns to the real world with the help of Pharaoh Atem. Kaiba has a computer that rebuilds the Millennium Puzzle and discovers the last two pieces are missing. He abducts Diva and approaches Yugi so he can have the two take part in the showcasing of his updated dual-disc virtual reality technology. He intends to duel both Diva and Yugi while gambling their pieces of the puzzle. However, Yugi is furious with Diva over what he has done to Bakura and insists he will duel him instead, which Kaiba agrees to. Yugi defeats Diva, resulting in Bakura's return to reality, and while dueling Kaiba, Yugi recompletes the Millennium Puzzle to demonstrate that the spirit of Atem is no longer inside it. Diva becomes corrupted by the incredible evil powers of the Millennium Ring and duels both Yugi and Kaiba. Kaiba sacrifices himself during the duel and makes a final plea for Yugi to call forth Atem. Yugi succeeds in doing so, and he and Atem defeat Diva with ease. Pharaoh Atem and the Millennium Puzzle then fade away, and Kaiba and everyone else return to reality. The story concludes with Yugi and friends graduating. The party sees Taya off at the airport as she goes to pursue her lifelong dream of becoming a professional ballet dancer in New York City. Meanwhile, Kaiba uses his technology in conjunction with the Quantum Cube to transport his own consciousness to the afterlife. He challenges Pharaoh Atem sitting on his throne, who responds with a confident smile as the film ends. Getting into the trivia for this. So, the manga of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Mm-hmm.
It was not initially about the card game.
No.
Really?
No. In fact, there is enough of material at the beginning of that for them to have made their own, an entirely different anime based on Yu-Gi-Oh!
Really?
It does feature some of the events that occur in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, which is the anime we're more familiar with over here, including the Duel Monster fight with Seto Kaiba and some of the stuff dealing with the early stuff with Bakura. But for the most part, it's an entirely different show.
Yeah.
It's a horror manga.
I can tell from this movie.
Yeah, this leans heavily into it. In the original show, in season 0, as the fans like to call it, after Yugi assembled the Millennium Puzzle and his body got, he started sharing his body with Yami Yugi, as we were then knew, also aka Dark Yugi, aka the Nameless Pharaoh, which is all anyone knew of him as at this point in time. Essentially, when Yugi would get into situations that would require someone to stand up to a opponent, as Yugi was not the kind of person who would do this more often. He was very timid. He would get replaced by the Pharaoh, and the Pharaoh would challenge that person to a shadow game. And if the opponent lost, they would be sent to do a penalty game, which essentially was the Shadow Realm, as the English dub would begin to call it in many ways. And yeah, the Shadow Realm is technically an invention of the English dub that 4Kids made, because they, in their grand, in their wisdom, decided that this show had the same kind of legs that Pokemon and Digimon had, and decided this would be a great third contender for that fight to make that kind of money.
Yeah.
Dallas, what is with that look? It froze with you. You had a very strange look on our side.
The original story of it, I grew up with what was on 4Kids. Like, I'm not gonna act like I was like, oh,
we all did over here.
I'm not gonna be one of those snobs like, oh, I watched the original one, dubbed, whatever. But when you look into it, it's like, this is a dark thing. Like in the American version, there's a time where I think it was Bakura fights these guys and or plays against them, and he sends them to the Shadow Realm, and there's this purple haze and everything like that, and they disappear. He literally says, "I'm sending you to hell," and then this dark cloud pulls these guys into the ground, and they're dead. Like, people don't come back from the Shadow Realm. Like they're in season 0. They tamed it down, but in the manga, they literally set a dude on fire. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Just went arson and is fun and lit a dude on fire and watched him burn. like Yu-Gi-Oh was vicious, and everyone was just kind of okay with that. They're
Whoa.
like, "Oh, Yugi's my buddy. Oh, he's committing homicide. That's okay." I mean,
You're also dealing with the fact that when the Duel Monsters story in that original one, when that thing it's taking place in a theme park that Seto Kaiba made called Death Tea.
yeah.
That was the name of this amusement park this battle was taking place. The whole amusement park was built so that Seto Kaiba could get revenge on Yugi for defeating him. And he called it Death Tea.
Wow. Let's just, right in the nose there, Kaiba.
He had some bitterness issues. That's what it was. He needed to let go and let God.
Just a touch.
Little bit.
Yeah,
So what happened is the card game Duel Monsters became popular, and kids were writing into the magazine Shonen Jump what the rules were for the game because they wanted to play it, and they decided to kind of redo the anime after that to focus more on, and the manga to focus more on the card game than on all the other horror evil Twilight Zone stuff he was doing.
Yeah.
But
which, to be honest, was genius because it set off a multi-million-dollar franchise with the show taught you how to play the game. The rules were a bit off, but they gave you a fundamental idea of what's going on.
Well, I mean, the card game in the manga up until the Dominoes, the Battle City arc, is not playing by any rules. It's just whatever the plot needs. When you get to the Battle City arc, they're actually using rules from the card game,
right.
But I don't know how accurate any of that is because I bet there's still a lot of plot contrivance to make sure.
Oh, sure, but they also
Yugi wins.
They gave you enough of the basics of how the game ran that when you picked up a deck, it wasn't much for you to read through the rules and go, okay, we got this, we can rock this out.
Yeah. But anyway, more trivia on this. This film was released in 2016, which was the 20th anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh's debut as a manga in September 1996.
Really?
For the English dub of the film, most of the actors from the English dub of the original show returned to reprise their respective roles. The notable exception is Wayne Grayson, who, in addition to his character of Joey Wheeler, also now voices Solomon Muto, Yugi's grandfather, as the original actress, Madeline Blaustein, passed away in 2008. If you look closely at one shot of the audience during the Kaiba Land duel between Yugi, Aigami, and Seto, one can spot the characters of Rex Raptor and Weevil Underwood for a short moment. Weevil is the guy you hated who threw Yugi's cards in the ocean.
Okay. The guy who should have got put into the deck, quite literally.
Yes.
He went to the Shadow Realm.
Interestingly enough,
indeed,
Solomon Muto, the grandpa in this film, he's colored the same way as his character in the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Toei animated series was.
Really?
Mm-hmm. The manga creator, Kazuki Takahashi, he personally drew some keyframes for one of the film sequences.
Really? Cool.
The film was not actually censored or edited for its international release, which was a common practice for the original TV series and its sequels. This is the first time it has ever happened for the franchise.
Much censoring took place.
Because it's that good.
Much censoring took place.
Yes. Very much. How many times did Joey get beat around when he was told he was a dog in the original arc?
How many times were people just pointing fingers aggressively throughout this original series?
Oh, yes.
Oh, my gosh.
And eating jelly donuts.
Yeah. The jelly donuts was Pokemon. But yeah. This film is the longest feature film in the franchise in terms of runtime. Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie, Pyramid of Light, in 2004 was 90 minutes, 101 in Japan. Yu-Gi-Oh! Bond Between Time from 2010 was only 60 minutes, 50 in Japan. Wonder where that extra 10 minutes came from. But this film is 130 minutes in length. Although Chocolate Magician Girl was one of the new Magician Girl monsters created for this movie, along with Lemon and Apple Magician Girl, she has never actually played in the movie and is only briefly seen in a pile of cards when Yugi is restructuring his deck. The film was announced in the West before it was in Japan. 4K Media, the last vestiges of the horrible movie anime company 4Kids Entertainment, they revealed the film's existence on the official Yu-Gi-Oh website. They teased that the movie was already in development in Japan and that they were shopping for a distributor in all non-Asian territories.
They were on the struggle bus.
Yeah, this is after they had changed their name to 4K Media, which I find hilarious because I don't think this was ever released in 4K. So, Dallas, since you're our guest, what is your first like for this film?
My first like for the film, I said that I messaged you guys immediately. Holy crap, the art was amazing in this one. Like, this was like, they went
yes,
up.
absolutely.
There's that meme out there where they hit the upgrade button, and that was what they did. They were like, upgrade, upgrade, upgrade. It was beautiful, like pristine,
indeed,
gorgeous animation all the way through. And like, you could tell there was money put behind this, and I appreciated that. Again, when you have a sequel series or a sequel type of event like this, they go one of two ways: either they make it really nice, or it gets kind of funky. They did that with actually Tenchi. The first Tenchi Muyo movie was super, super clean, which we reviewed that here on this podcast last year.
Yeah, we did.
But the third Tenchi Muyo movie, there's kind of a downgrade in the animation and the amount of money. Now, legitimately, a little bit. The back end of the story of that particular Tenchi was actually really touching. But I was worried. Anytime you have something like this, I go in there and go, okay, are they going to do really nicely, or are they going to mess this up? And they did a great job. The lines were crisp. They were clean. The emotions characters showed was really nice. And I appreciated even like the dramatic, they kind of, because they upgraded some of the old school stuff from the first one, like the way the numbers are displayed for the battle points and everything. Like, it was just really well done.
My first like for this is also one of my likes for the show in general, is the absolute ridiculousness of this universe. Because see, here's the thing. This movie starts off as we're zooming through space.
Yeah.
Coming up on, looks like we're going to be flying over the Earth for a little bit, but you very quickly notice that there's a gray speck above the Earth. And as we come in closer, we see that beneath that gray speck is a long gray line. As we get closer, you can tell that it's a giant space station on a space elevator. And as the camera goes above, so you notice that the entire space station is in the shape of the Kaiba Corp logo.
Yes.
I didn't notice that at the first. I was like, what? Okay, it's an interesting design. And it's like, oh.
And why does Seto Kaiba have a giant space station separated from the Earth? It's so he can play out his revenge fantasies on the Pharaoh by playing Duel Monsters against a holographic version, which he went to a lot of trouble to recreate, including, and I quote, the perfect quad of his hair.
Best line ever.
Wow.
That was actually the hardest part.
that is like, I understand obsession. Okay, I understand. Like, we all understand obsession.
Seto Kaiba.
Yeah.
Forget Calvin Klein.
Oh my gosh. Be like, Seto Kaiba, just like, oh my gosh, dude. Be like, move forward. You got beat by this guy. Move forward with your life.
And the thing is, you have to realize he's got all that money.
Yeah.
Because of Duel Monsters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he created this holographic technology that, you could have sold to some governments and some other things to revolutionize communication and movie watching and all this stuff. But no, it's all to play one children's card game that he now owns all the rights to, because apparently he bought out Maximilian Pegasus, who created Duel Monsters. He bought out that company, so now he's making a ton of money, and he is now pretty much controlling the monsters. He should be winning everything because he should be able to play the game.
Yeah.
He's playing
from
the game.
two sides. I mean, it's like he should have like, oh yeah, here's the ultimate card that will beat every other card, despite the fact that somehow he was still able to summon Obelisk the Tormentor, despite the fact I don't think he should have been able to at that point.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
But one of the 3 Egyptian god cards.
Oh, okay. I was like, what are you talking about? we'll get there when we get
thing.
there.
It's
Okay,
a thing.
It's a thing. Okay. I noticed there's certain things that happen, and this is like, okay, I don't quite get it. Let's just roll with it.
Let's just say there's a moment. It's like my first thought when I saw that, because it wasn't colored the way I was expecting it to be colored.
We're going to talk about that too.
Did he just summon Exodia? No, he didn't. It would have been awesome, funny, and amazing if he had, but no, that's not what he did. But I mean, the absolutely ridiculous that this entire world revolves around this one card game that, by all technical accounts, within 5 to 10 years should die, just because product life and stuff moves on.
Yeah,
but no, this whole we later go on that there's a college about learning how to play this card game better.
Right.
That Seto Kaiba sets up.
Really?
Yeah.
That's craziness.
And then at some point they're playing card games on motorcycles. I don't know the reasoning behind that, but it's this whole ridiculousness how good night. They come to a stop because it's like, I can't. I can't. Words are so hard to say or stuff like this. But you know what? I can beat you with my duel monsters. It's like, oh, good lord! Shoot him! Shoot Aigami! Don't play the stupid card game. Shoot him!
Pull a Dr. Jones from Indiana Jones and shoot him.
But that's not how this world works. Everything comes to a halt because it's time to duel.
Boom, done.
Anyway, but the fact that this is how they stuck with the absolute ridiculousness of how this world was set up for this movie, despite the fact, especially when you look at the writing and stuff, it's like there's no reason they should still be following the same story. They should be. Someone should be revamping this and make it more semi-realistic. But no, they didn't. They made it. It kept it with the way it's supposed to be, and I appreciate that.
Going on, my first actually follows exactly what Dallas was talking about. The animation in this movie is just solid. You're talking the one that got me the most was the use of shadow, the use of the use of black, the use of color with characters when you're using shadow and the whole bit. When you're using lighting and shadow effects, that's just absolutely just gorgeous. Oh my gosh. When I'm watching this movie, there again, the first scene of everything, the universe and going into the orbiting satellite. And then you get into how they light and how animation and the whole bit, how they do Kaiba. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Be like I don't remember the original show doing this. And all I know about Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was like, okay, it looks amazing. And I was like, man, like Dallas said a minute ago, they cranked everything up to 11 and gave this big, enormous budget. I wish I knew the budget of this film. This would be freaking amazing to know, but I couldn't find it. But it was just like, whoa, this animation is amazing. I don't understand half of what's going on, but it's so pretty. Some people would say, it's pretty animation. I want to watch it. And yes, I was.
Yes, Jacob just did unknowingly quote Francisco.
Oh, Francisco.
It's
so pretty.
Just the animation in this movie is just brilliant. How the animation, the art style, because it does stay true to what I've seen of Yu-Gi-Oh. Definitely Drew, not Dallas, Drew said earlier about it was called Duel Monsters here in the States. And I was like, it stays true to that. It stays true to that. And being an artist, I appreciate that of, continuity artistic wise, because you look at a lot of different shows when they go into different branching or different art style, they go into a movie or something, they'll change the art style. And it's just I enjoy that. I'd be like, I wish you could have kept some more of the elements from the show in which people, would have more relationship with or look at.
Now, some of the monsters were redesigned. Most obvious one being Dark Magician.
Yeah,
because you see the purple monster behind Dallas there.
Yes,
that's Dark Magician.
Yes,
from the original anime. This one is more blue for some reason. But it still looks good.
Yeah, I appreciate that because they didn't really change the design of the character, They just give him a different hue.
Yeah.
The example of like doing the wrong thing when you do an adaptation of something, with me anyway, be like, there again, I mentioned before, I'm a huge Thundercats fan.
Yeah.
Huge.
You're bringing up Thundercats Roar, aren't
Yes,
you?
I am. Oh my gosh. Like I watched 3 episodes. I'm like, I'm gonna puke. Like, just like, don't get me started on that show. Oh my gosh. It got 1 season. Thankfully, it only got 1 season. But when you drastically change the animation style, you take Thundercats 2011, which kind of homage the original, updated the animation to modern, and just revolutionized. And by the way, we did
yes, we did do that.
We did a TAS of of season 1 of Thundercats 2011. Go check it out. And I really enjoyed that. It's just that drastic shift of be like, oh, we're gonna go with the modern idea of how to do things, or like Teen Titans Go or something like that, and which we're gonna review at some point.
We've talked about there are some Teen Titans Go movies we're thinking of doing.
So that's gonna be interesting. But going back to my point of the animation in this movie is gorgeous.
Yes.
Chef's kiss. Mwah! Perfect. Oh my gosh, great animation. That is my first like.
All right, Dallas, what's your second like?
My second like is the fact that this was a good continuation dash nod to the original series. Like it literally, like, it picks up a year later after the series ends, and you're getting this great full story of like they're moving on with their lives. They're about to graduate from high school, and you're discovering what happens to them in the future, kind of, in a degree. And but like I said, there's a lot of plot points that took place in the original series that like you just can't mess with, or you really ruin the original franchise. At the end of the original series, the whole point at the very end, Yugi and Atem, who commonly referred to as Yami Yugi, they have a duel, and it's the final duel between the two of them. And basically, Yugi had to win in order to free Atem. But the last battle, the point was that they had this discovery of both of them, Atem and Yugi, had grown as individuals, and they no longer needed each other. Like, there was, throughout the series, there was this thing of like Yugi needed Atem, but Atem needed Yugi for not just to be a body, but for the humanity aspect of it. It taught him about friendship and stuff like that. And if you jack with that, you ruin the point of that ending. And the fact that they didn't do that, like, there was this pull, like, we're going to summon Yami Yugi and Atem, and Yugi goes, no, he's not here. Like, that's not going to happen. And then at the end, Atem showed up on his own. Like, it wasn't a matter of he's been summoned.
I enjoyed that.
He's like, I'm here to take care of my friends, and I'm done. And so I appreciated it. It kept the heart of the show and everything else together. Because again, so often, when we've mentioned this several times already, these movies based on franchises can just go left field and ruin an entire series because they just don't make sense. They don't fit in continuity at all. Looking at you, Power Rangers, with your movies, and I mean,
I was just thinking, like, most of the Dragon Ball Z movies.
Like, well, yeah, all the Dragon Ball movies just don't make no sense. They're fun. Honestly, the original storyline with Broly was pretty fun, but not in continuity.
Right, but it was all non-canon.
Yeah, exactly. But it was canon, but it was well done. So that's why my second like, because I appreciate that there was you could tell that the people who worked on it had a genuine love for the franchise. This wasn't just a job. This wasn't just a money grab thing. It was, but it wasn't just that. And I appreciated that.
My second like for this is the fact that it's very hard to know which parts are 2D and which parts are 3D computer animation.
Totally.
The only one that really stuck out to me that was definitely computer 3D animation was the Kaiba Corp station. And I think that's just because I'm kind of used to seeing those kind of things. Just, it was too accurate to be hand-drawn. I'll say that, even on a computer. But there's so many other aspects where it's like that had to have been done in 3D, but it's hard to tell. Some of this stuff looks like the the quantum cube, I think that was 3D.
Mhm.
But that kind of works because it's kind of a mystical fourth dimensional
Mhm.
object. I can kind of work with that.
Yeah.
It fits.
Agreed.
But it also, at the same time, never felt like it didn't exist in that world.
Yeah.
It was just some weird, because that's what happens so many times when you're watching cartoons that are trying to save a little bit of money by just doing the thing in 3D.
Right.
Mhm.
We mentioned earlier that we watched Log Horizon
Yes.
this last Sunday, and there's a section in there where this whole, I call them Murloc army because I played World of Warcraft, but the whole Fishman army starts attacking the beach.
That's right.
And the thing is, you can tell the entire time those are 3D
Yeah.
on this 2D thing. And yeah, that's the only way they probably could have afforded to actually draw or have that many dynamically moving people attack this beach.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, oh, that's disappointing that it's 3D and this 2D show. But
it's better than the Voltron they did years ago.
Well, Voltron, anyway. But in this, I mean, there's so many times where I'm fairly certain, like I can't remember what the name of Aizawa's monsters are, because literally, even though he kept bringing them up over and over and over again, those cube monster things, whatever they're called, but those look like they were made in 3D just because of how accurate all the thing is, because it's, like I said, it's almost too accurate, but at the same time it looks hand drawn like the rest of it.
Speaking of those things, if I can just derail you for just a second, can we all agree that it's clear that Aigama's deck belonged to Calamity Ganon?
Yes. I'm replaying through Breath of the Wild right now, and yeah, those are definitely Calamity Ganon monsters.
That's all I've thought about is like,
I think
this belongs to Calamity Ganon.
Yes.
Sorry.
Obviously, the problem here is that Yugi needed to summon the Master Sword.
That's what.
That would have saved a lot of time.
Just done. Maybe a few Guardians. You're out the door.
Give Celtic Guardian the Master Sword, because he kind of looks like Link anyway.
Yeah.
And have him attack, and then get Dark Magician Girl to fire some light arrows.
I mean, if you want, just
why not?
I'm sure there's a card that you go with a little pixie. Go, hey, listen. I mean, we can make that happen.
Yeah. That would be Karibo.
There you go.
Anyway,
oh god,
sorry to derail you like
the way
that.
the 3D effects in here, they're on screen for maybe like 3 or 4 seconds, like when they're summoning and desummoning monsters and stuff. And yeah, the cards are 3D, but they're supposed to look bigger and larger than life. And I think they were 3D in the actual cartoon, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Original anime, but it works here in such a way that it never feels like the motif of the art is broken.
Yeah.
And that's generally what happens when you're watching one of these that uses 3D stuff, is that the motif of the art gets kind of broken. Like, I think Digimon Adventure Tri had a lot of moments like that, especially the Digivolution sections. But I just like that it's hard to spot the 3D animation that had to have been used in this film.
Totally.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be like it's used very well. It's just not like the overuse of CG. It's not it's not heavy handed.
Right.
It's not heavy handed. It's used very well and especially throughout the film.
Yeah. What's your third like? Or second like?
Second like.
Sorry.
Second like.
Ahead.
No, that's right. The horror themes of this movie. There again, not knowing not knowing the full breadth of canon when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh, and not knowing, like, with this review, learning a lot more about Yu-Gi-Oh than I ever have, which is very entertaining and very educational. The scene with our villain when he first appears. How do you pronounce his actual
Seto Kaiba, or are you talking about Mokuba?
Mokuba. Yeah. Mokuba or Diva.
Like, no, that's Diva. It's Aigami.
Aigami, yeah.
Okay, so Aigami shows up. I'm like, oh, okay, there's your villain. Yeah. He's got the horns, you got the yellow eyes. He's got to be the villain. So when he encounters the bullies in the back alley or something like that, and they're like picking on him the whole bit, be like, oh, come down to like so and so place, and he reveals the box, and he literally just like starts tearing these guys apart with this magic box. I'm like, oh crap, where is this coming from? I'm like, whoa, and it just keeps going and going with all this horror themes. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is freaking amazing.
This moment will be returning later on, by the way.
Oh.
Ironically in dislikes, but not the way you think.
Oh, okay. I got you. That's gonna be fun. So just the all around horror themes of like, characters dying or characters being displaced into another dimension where they're never coming back.
Right.
Yeah. Looking at you, Joey. Looking at guy who got possessed by something else earlier in the series.
Mokuba.
There we go. Mokuba. The silver haired guy that all the girls like. So the all around. I don't know these characters' names. I watched the movie once.
I know. It's just I hadn't thought of I don't think of Mokuba as being hounded by girls. Anyway,
well, in the scene when he's first introduced, he's being hounded by girls.
Maybe so.
So there again, apparently he was possessed by something.
He's not Duke Devlin. That's all I know.
Who's Duke Devlin?
Let's not get into it right now.
Okay.
He's got cameo roles in this film. Let's just move on.
Okay.
He's in 2 scenes.
Okay.
He's the guy with dice earrings.
Okay, moving forward.
That was apparently employing Joey in a dog suit, which I love.
Oh, that scene.
I love
that scene.
I love when they
Okay.
revealed that was more on that in a second.
Okay. Gotcha. Because there again, I was like, what, the world dog suit? It's like, oh yeah, because Joey was dressed as a dog at one point. That's right. So yeah, the either or. I'm not surprised you didn't use that as my intro.
I had better ideas.
It's true. It's so true. Either or.
I put it this way: the reason the dog suit thing is funny is not how I think of you.
Okay. Okay. Good. Either or, be like the horror themes of this the how our main villain dispatches the enemies and dispatches the people he doesn't like, and how he's corrupted by the what is the thing he uses his abilities.
I can't remember the name of
yeah,
that
but either
thing.
or, be like he corrupts the ability he has, and he's able to corrupt and destroy things with it, and he's going to destroy the world with it.
Pollen?
That kind of thing.
What did they call it? The pollen? I can't remember.
It was a weird word.
It was
the
a
plana.
weird.
It was the plana.
Plana, there you go. That's it.
For dark purposes, and like I really enjoy when they do like real horror dark themes in these kind of, and it's like, oh, okay, this can be like a cutesy little thing, be like, oh, let's duel and all this good stuff. Like, no, they actually go into really dark themes, and the way you guys described earlier with
how the show was,
how the show originally was, how the manga was, with the fact that like Yugi like set someone on fire and just like burn someone to death.
Fuego Dios.
They're like, oh, Yugi, you're so cool. It's like, yeah, you just burned somebody to death. Oh, yay, let's follow you around. But yeah, I enjoy when creators do that and they go back to the original material and bring it into it and are not afraid to use it because like, oh, we might scare somebody. It's like, do it. Be creative. Use that.
To be honest, Jacob, I don't know. This movie would have made money if they had given the 4 kids treatment. I think that 4 kids treatment was such a locked in a time frame.
Agree.
Yeah.
I don't know if they could.
I mean, there's still some of that 4 kids treatment in here, but it's very light.
Yeah,
because they're just trying to keep it in continuity with the show it came from.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just the horror themes. The horror elements just threw me for a loop, and I was like, whoa, this is good. This is really, really well done. And the horror themes is my second like.
Nice.
All right, Dallas, what's your third like?
My third like is actually the very end of the dadgum movie. When not the credits rolling, but the fact that
I don't know, I liked the theme song being used there finally.
the fact that Kaiba uses the dimensional cube to travel to a different dimension to finally duel Pharaoh. this is a running thing. This is his rival. This is his nemesis,
Obsession.
but there's still some kinship there. And yes, he's prideful. He's got to get over it. But what I loved the most about the fact that was the fact that you didn't see the duel. You saw him step up to Pharaoh, pull the dual disc, and it ends. So it leaves it open with, we don't know. It just leaves the imagination running. It didn't close that story off for us. It was a nice open ending thing, and it left kind of an air of mystery to it. And I appreciated that. I think that because there's that thing there's if you have a story and there's this thing that the character always wants, and they finally get like halfway through the series, you're like, okay, what's next? Like what's the motivation for the character from this point forward? And you are dissatisfied as a viewer. You don't have that in this. It's just like this is it. This is you it's there, but you don't know what's going to happen. The end.
All right. My third I love all of the callbacks to certain things. Yeah. Specifically one of them.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. They go to that scene in the food court, and I see the dog suit, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's like the dog suit Joey was dressed in back in Duelist Kingdom arc when he got beaten into a dog. I was like, that's a nice little callback. And so I was like, okay, that's interesting, that's cool. And then it's revealed that it's actually Joey in the suit. That when they got a rise out of him finally, and he broke character. That made me laugh hard. I had to pause the film because it's like, okay, that was good. That was good.
Yeah.
But then you've also got stuff like, I guess really what I'm thinking of is continuity, because you've got the whole fact that they actually go through Mokuba's backstory as to how he got the Millennium Ring there, and how that affected Shin getting killed, and you get all this stuff. It's like every time I was about to ask a question based on what I remembered of the show, it answered it. Like before I had a chance to even fully think through the thought. It kept itself so well in continuity that there's only one little aspect I'll get into in dislikes where I thought they should have done something a little different, even though it would technically change it from the Japanese version a touch. But we'll get to that when we get there. Jacob, what's your third like?
My third like is actually the return of Pharaoh. Like Dallas said before, it was this entire movie is talking about how Yugi and the Pharaoh separated when that duel ended. That duel ended because apparently what Dallas said they had grown so much and developed from each other that they basically separated. And it's Kaiba, his obsession, be like, I've got to face him one more time. I got to face him one more time because he beat me. And Yugi, as one point, be like, he feels like he's not whole, or he's been like a part of him is missing, or his best friend is missing. And I really enjoyed that because I didn't understand what he was talking about. Because there again, not knowing all about Yu-Gi-Oh, I didn't know about that. So I was like, oh, okay. Oh yeah, that's that Pharaoh thing that people talked about.
Right.
And so I'm watching it, and it's like, oh, okay. So he misses the guy that had possessed him. And it's like, okay, it's interesting. So apparently they had a real big connection. So I'm watching and be like, Kaiba's be like, you gotta put the Millennium Puzzle. Thank you. And put the Millennium Puzzle on. You got to bring him back because I got to face him one more time.
Right.
And Yugi's be like, he's not going to come back. He's not coming back. Because be like, we're done. They're like, this is never happening again. And the last minute where all these insane over the top fights are happening, to me, it made no sense whatsoever. All the be like, oh, I'm going to destroy you. Da, 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 da. It's like, what? You activated my trap card. Exactly. That kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, interesting. And so Yugi's be like, he's down to nothing. Kaiba's already been sacrificed himself. And Yugi's is like, oh, okay. And it's like, oh, okay. Just boom. And it's like, oh, Pharaoh came back. He came back on his own accord. He didn't get summoned. And it's like, oh, that's really cool. And I was like, wow, I was like, I didn't expect that. I was thinking like, oh, okay, be like maybe Kaiba comes back or something like that, just saves him in the last minute, because that's how these things work. And I was like, oh, it's Pharaoh. Pharaoh comes back, he takes the villain out one shot and then leaves. No, he doesn't hang out and say hi to the Kaiba or anything like that, or talks to Yugi, but he just boom, done, and leaves. I'm like, wow, bravo, good storytelling in that. I was just blown away. I was like, okay, Yugi is dead. Yugi is dead. And I was like, and then he just shows up.
Right.
And just boom, done. And I was like, cool. That's a really cool story beat. And he does show up. And then you have Kaiba, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to face the Pharaoh one more time. I'm going to Astro Jump, and then I'm going to face him in his own reality.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay. And I, like you said before, Dallas, I love it how you kind of you don't get into the duel, but it starts the duel.
Right.
Face me, Pharaoh, and it just stands up with a grin and slow clap. Like, wow, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it didn't make any sense to me in some cases, but it's just like, whoa, this is really good storytelling.
Yeah.
From a show, watching a few episodes, I'm like, this is the stupidest thing on the planet. To wow, this is a really good movie. I know that's so contrary, but it's just like, wow, this is really good.
Admittedly, the show you've got to buy into a lot.
Yeah.
That's so true. And I just couldn't buy into it.
Especially the fact that the only English version of the show is the 4Kids dub, which
oh my gosh,
makes a lot of it makes a lot of changes to what's going on.
So just before we get into our dislikes, I wanted to get into, because Drew sent me this and it was hilarious. What if 4Kids had done the Evangelion dub? And he
said that to you 4 years ago.
4 years ago, and someone had done a 4Kids style intro to Evangelion.
I will post it on the Facebook page.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Wow.
And I was like, what in the world is this?
I just
But now you know where we're coming from.
Yes, I do.
You've seen Pokemon.
Yes.
The only thing you've not had to witness was One Piece.
Oh, I've witnessed One Piece before.
Oh, and you know how bad that is.
Yeah, the One Piece rap for the intro, and I'm like, what in the world is this?
The One Piece rap is why they did the 4Kids version of Evangelion the way they did it, where it's a rap song.
Yeah, but either or, I wanted to bring that up because I was like, oh my gosh.
Anyway,
sorry, I wanted to bring that up.
Broke
dislike.
Yes, dislikes.
Dallas, what is your first dislike for this film?
4Kids Evangelion. I'm sorry, not the wrong answer.
No, this film, not life. This film, not life.
My first dislike for the film, I didn't really care for the dimensional dueling, where there was I'm infusing my soul, and boom, here's this giant monster. In the show, there was build up, there was strategy. You had to sacrifice cards to build up to a giant monster and everything, and it built some tension. But you also had 6 episodes for a duel. We didn't have that here. We had 2 hours to fit in several things. So I get why they kind of created the system of dimensional dueling, but at the same time, they didn't feel like there was any sacrifice to them doing that. In the previous generations, there were a couple episodes where bringing out certain things would actually affect the person himself. I'm saying, if you're giving up your soul for these creatures to be maxed out, then there should be a toll on the player himself, some sort of weakening, or his actual human life points going down, something like that. And it was just boom, here I am, and it robbed the movie of some of the potential tension. Again, I get they can't do a full-on duel like they would normally do because of time restraints, but it felt cheap, like a cheap way just to rush the story to get, let's put these big guys out there on the field, because to be honest, that's what everyone wants. Because I remember as a kid, and Jacob, Drew, you remember this as a kid, you're be 6 episodes, and we're is he gonna pull the last card or pull out Exodia, is it going to happen next week? I don't know. And you're out there with your cereal, waiting for it to happen or not. And
Yeah.
there was tension
Last
built
time
up
on
because
Dragon
you
Ball
want to see
Z.
this big creature. So, but in this movie, like, let's just put them out there. Let's pull out this Egyptian god card that's not supposed to be there. And we're gonna, theorize about that later. I don't know. Maybe it's because he's a resurrection of Set. I don't know what's happening in this daggum thing anymore. But it was just it was a cheap way to make big creatures come out on the field. As a guy who plays trading card games, I appreciate strategy, but it still kind of sucks that they just pull it up.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I've been wrong before, but they only did that with the duels that were specifically against. He wanted to say Izama, but that's not his name. I'm going to say Diva because that's his actual name.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They only did that when he was involved most of the time. When it was between just like Seto and Yugi, and the hologram duel that Seto did against Hollow Yugi,
Mhm.
Hollow Pharaoh. That was regular duels. It's just they somehow were able to. There was some change in the rules allowed them to pull out something bigger.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Like Kaiba pulling out 3 blue eyes white dragons on turn 1 and just playing them out like nobody's business. You're like, what are you doing, man? Like, how does this happening?
I will say, as someone who doesn't play card games, TCGs, I just felt like, okay, yeah, we do have a short amount of time,
right?
And these card games have always been written more for the plot and the spectacle more than actually playing by rules.
Right.
Agreed.
So that was just my theory. But anyway, I get what you're saying because that I could not follow the logic as to why even Diva was doing that, pulling that dimensional dueling every time, especially since no one got to agree to do that. He just
did
said,
it.
"We're dimension dueling now. Have fun."
Right. But again, like the fact that they did the rush, I get the whole, again, we're time limit, but it robs the tension because then you're like, will they be able to pull the card they need to pull the big card out to
Makes sense.
build the tension of the battle? I mean, it was just like, it was like they were playing God mode.
They had to structure it similar to how they structure the Dragon Ball Z fights in Battle of Gods and Resurrection F, where you've only got we're used to these battles that take 6 or 7 episodes because that's just the Shonen Jump formula.
Right.
But we've got 15 minutes to do them in.
Right.
Have fun. We got to. You end up rushing and lose a lot of
agreed.
a lot of the talk we used to get. Of course, with Yu-Gi-Oh, you still get actually descriptions because that's just how the show is written.
Right.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying. That dimensional dueling did not make any sense to me whatsoever, along with rushing even the regular duels.
Not just that, but like doing it though, made the duels boring. You know what I'm saying? Because there was no tension.
Agreed.
And so like during the duels, you're just like big creature, big creature, big creature, big creature, big creature, boom, boom, and you're just like, okay, I'm ready for this to end and move on to a story point.
Yeah.
And so it robbed emotion of those things. So that's my thing.
Yeah. My first dislike for this, I'll actually say it's more of a disappointment than a dislike. For once, we have this dimension mechanic that this movie has in it where, he sends these people to other dimensions when he decides to punish them, right?
Right.
Why on earth, in the English dub, did they not just go ahead and call it the Shadow Realm? Because for once, there's actually something physical about them being in the Shadow Realm.
True.
That's essentially what was happening.
Right.
Yeah,
They
it
were being
was.
sent to a Shadow Realm for them to live out with their memories of their lives.
Right.
Yeah. And it's
That's
slowly
what was
being
happening.
corrupted. Yeah.
Just say the freaking words.
Right.
You got sent to the Shadow Realm, and everyone would have been, okay, that's kind of cool.
Right.
But like I said, that is I feel that's a missed opportunity. It doesn't affect the story any.
Right.
But it's like, as someone who grew up on the English dub and the whole Shadow Realm nonsense, even though that was just their pseudonym for death,
Right.
since they couldn't actually kill anybody. It's like how the Power Rangers never killed a monster; they just destroyed them. What's the difference there?
What is the true difference?
But I mean, it's like, just send him to the Shadow Realm. Just say you're sending to the Shadow Realm, and I will be happy. Let me finish this movie with the knowledge that both Mokuba and Joey actually got sent to the Shadow Realm and returned.
Right.
Just let me see that.
With the help of the Pharaoh.
Exactly. So yeah, that's just why didn't I just wish that the English dub had just made that one little minute change, and I think it would have been awesome just to tie into the English version of the anime just a little bit more. But that's anyway.
I get that.
That's my first dislike.
That's fair.
Okay. Yeah, my first is like kind of plays along with what Dallas was saying earlier about his first. His first is like because the over bombastic fights at the end where it was literally it's okay because there again I've never understood the dueling systems in this show because there again I've only seen a little bit here and there.
That's because on the anime it was whatever the plot needed to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And it just made zero sense. Like, okay, I'm pulling this. Oh, here's my trap card. Here's my 3 trap cards.
It's well known.
What?
It's well known. Every player that we saw in the anime cheated.
Yeah, pretty much. Because they're like I'm not a gamer. I don't play cards or anything like that. I'll play 21 or something like that.
Sure,
but
Skip. We've got to play Skipbo.
There we go. I play Skipbo every once in a while.
There you go.
But I want to see a Skipbo anime.
A Skipbo.
There's a Taco Bell anime. I'm sure there'll be a Skippo one someday.
It's got to be at some point.
Yes,
I would watch the fool out of that anyway.
Yeah, just the sheer insanity of how like these duels get. Definitely at the end where Diva's be like he's using one monster and it's just multiply. Be like, oh, I'm gonna sacrifice this. Just like you said before, it literally sacrifices all your development, your character growth, and the whole bit just to get bigger, badder monsters. To be like, it's the let my monster grow kind of scene from Power Rangers, and it's like Rita Repulsa be like, let my monster grow. Be like, oh no, let's throw another one on top of him, top. I mean, like, it just got insane. I was like, what in the world? And there, I understand it's for just be like, hey, let's make it bombastic, let's make it fun. But at the same time, it feels like they just went, like you said earlier, they just kind of sacrifice a lot just to, make it big and bold and just fun and entertaining to be like, oh, let's tell a story. And I really didn't like that. Definitely going from the series, going in here. Because in some moments, it's like, okay, that makes sense. And then others, it's like, oh, okay, this is getting a little too insane for me. But yeah, this is more like sacrifice, be like making bigger and bigger and bigger things. And you're literally undercutting everything you're doing in the film just to make everything bigger and flashier. Yeah. That's my first dislike.
Dallas, what's your second dislike?
My second dislike is actually Diva Agami's motivation in doing what he's doing. And because he keeps saying it's to protect their power that they have, but I'm asking, what have you guys done with this power in this time frame? Like, it's been a year. What are you guys doing? And I'm very confused to how many people are. Well, I'll get into it later, but like, they're not doing anything with it. And then you kind of get the idea of, okay, it's because Home Dude's mentor died. Okay, so you're on revenge, so go after Mokuba. But then even after you deal with Mokuba, you realize that Mokuba wasn't really as terrible as an individual as you thought. You still do what you do, and you're still on to Yugi about, I'm not going to lose this power to rebuild the world how I want it. I'm like, dude, pick a motivation and stick with it or something. I don't know. It was kind of everywhere.
Yeah, I agree with you in that. Just the idea, because his motivation was this, and then it kind of, it devolves into this where revenge becomes this driving goal with him, and his original desire was be like, oh, I've done everything I need to do in order to revenge this, but it continues and be like, okay, couldn't he just learn from his ways instead of be like this ultimate power grab? Which is like, I agree with you on that.
All right. It's my turn, isn't it? Sorry.
Yes.
I was distracted by internet weirdness. Sorry. My second dislike for this film, I'm not really sure. It really felt like there's so many characters that just get thrown in for like quick cameos that while I appreciate they're there, I kind of wish we could have just moved past them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Mokuba being there makes sense because he is Seto's brother,
Right.
So I mean, it makes sense he should at least be in the background because he was a major part of the business. I think even during the show, but it just feels like, oh, we need this character. We're gonna have this character come in and say a couple lines, and it's like, I like cameos. Don't get me wrong. It felt like there was so many different characters that got introduced, and then just had so little of a role.
Right.
Not to mention, like all the other, like Manny, for instance. Manny's a new character for this. We need him to get possessed by the ring. That's the entire reason he exists.
Yeah.
In this movie.
Yeah.
He needs to get possessed by the ring so that it can get to Diva by the end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Couldn't you have just had it somehow infect Mokuba and not have to create a whole new character for me to care about who's going to die within the first third of the film? He's a red shirt when you get right down to it. Is the entire reason he exists. So they didn't have to kill any of the major characters for the movie.
Right.
So they killed this other one that's like, but we're supposed to feel something for this guy. It's like, I don't even know who you are. And because of the flashbacks, we still keep seeing him throughout the whole film.
Right.
I mean, you can tell he's a friend of Diva and Sarah, but I still have no idea who this kid is and why I should care about him.
Right.
Because he's not in the movie long enough for me to care about him other than, he's their friend. You could have pulled any one of those kids in that group out of there to pull this off. I don't get it. I just don't get it. But yeah, the extra the cameos that didn't add anything, and then and then having characters who aren't really adding to the story, just complicating it more, where you could have done it a different way, I feel. But anyway, I digress. Jacob?
Mine actually goes into continuity a little bit here and there, because there again, if you guys can help me with a little bit, maybe I've only seen it once, and there again, not understanding all of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yes.
So we go into the scene where we go through the universe, we go through Kaiba Corp, where it's called, Kaiba Corp.
Yeah, Kaiba Corp. That's the name of the company.
Yeah, the
space station.
Yeah, go into the orbiting satellite, and we go through and see what's his name?
Seto.
Yeah, Seto Kaiba. We see him there again. I'm terrible with names.
That's
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
So Seto Kaiba, and then we get in the chamber where the Millennial Puzzle is. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then it's like a couple of minutes later, they're seeing where the Millennium Puzzle. I want to say the cube, but the Millennium Puzzle is shattered to bits, and be like, his whole deal is to go find it. I was like, am I thinking? Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Be like, is that first to be a flashback? Is it a
no?
Is it a what's going on?
When you're first coming in there to the space station, and you see the version of the Millennium Puzzle there, I think that's the hologram one that's gonna be on Holo Atem during that holographic fight. I think that's what that is.
Possibly.
He doesn't have it. He's recreating. He's being very meticulous about how he's doing everything.
Yeah,
it's just at that shot, especially since it's kind of look, Seto may have the Millennium Puzzle.
Yeah,
it's to give you that thing, and then they go down to the desert. It's like, no, they're still digging for the Millennium Puzzle.
Yeah,
that's
where
I'm kind of with you though, Jacob. It was the way they shot it, the way they did it. It was kind of confusing. There was no thing to tell us that it was a hologram.
Exactly.
And like at first I thought, because it's not uncommon for shows to like show you something from the middle of the movie and then take you back to the beginning to lead you back to that. I was like, well, maybe that's just an anchor point.
Especially in anime, they abuse that.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, they didn't set up any context for it at all.
Yeah, so I thought, well, maybe this is
like you're going through the scene. Sorry,
no, it's cool. But yeah, I felt like maybe this was an anchor point, and then we're gonna get back to this, and the story is gonna progress from there. I thought that's what they were doing, but I don't know. I'm feeling you. It was just awkwardly shot and done.
It was.
Yeah.
It was very awkward. The shot.
It was meant to be a shocking moment that literally a minute later is automatically diffused when you see that they're still digging up the puzzle.
Yeah, that's just more where the confusion was, where it lied and be like, I didn't have the context, what was going on.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, okay, that's a bit confusing.
totally.
So yeah, that's my first dislike, or
Second
dislike.
Second.
Actually.
Yeah. Dallas, what's your third?
My third, kind of along with what you were saying, Drew, is just that there were so many unnecessary characters and things that were put in place. You know, when they were in the I keep wanting to call it Plano. It's not Plano.
No, it's not Plano. It's Plana.
Plana. That like they're in the.
I know that. I know Plano is close to Dallas, but it's not close to you.
I know. But they look like there's a bunch of people there. Like looks like, and like there was no explanation about like why are these people fading in and out of reality here, back and forth.
Agreed.
And they're just kind of like there. You're like, why? Like, what are you doing? Like, there's no explanation of the power. Is he harnessing them to send people to the shadow realm, not shadow realm thing? I mean, what's happening here? And then, because at the end, it's just him and like the 5 other people that we saw in that one flashback scene, but there's no explanation about who any of the other people are. And it was just, it felt weird shoving all these extra characters in with no explanation. Now, maybe if they were able to flesh this out into a series, I don't know if they were maybe wanting to hopefully pump out a 7th Yu-Gi-Oh series based off this. I don't know, but it just felt out of place. I'd be curious to see if there was I know there's a manga that bridges the gap between the two, between the series and the movie. I don't know if that explains them or not, but it just felt really out of place.
Okay.
My third dislike for this film. I know that in these kind of shows, you have to show off like new stuff, like in the Dragon Ball Z stuff. This is why they have new fights. This is why they have new transformations that'll pop up. I know that the equivalent in this is, we've got new cards, we've got new monsters to show off. And granted, I don't know how many. I don't know every Yu-Gi-Oh monster card in the game.
Right.
I don't. But there was a point when I was watching that, and it's like, Seto, how many Blue Eyes White Dragon variants do you have?
Let me tell you something.
Why are there this many? Why are they crystals? There's only supposed to be 3 of those left in the game because you tore apart the 4th one.
Yes. He tore apart.
Why do you have so many of these dragons now?
He tore apart the Blue Eyes White Dragon, but not the other variants and bonuses, because like in IRL, there's so many like expansions of the game, and there's like new versions of everything. Right. And so the idea is that everything he's playing comes from those other expansions of the game itself. And so
and I get that, but there's still a part of me that's like, dude, expand. You have Yugi doesn't. You should, if you're actually learning from Yugi and the Pharaoh's duels against you, you'll note that Yugi does not have, like, he has a bias towards the Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl line of monsters, but he's got other monsters. He's got, the Karibo. He's got, the Celtic Guardian and all this other stuff. If you're actually learning from Yugi, that you should have more than just what are essentially Blue Eyes White Dragons.
Yeah.
That are called other things like Crystal Dragons and Crystal this and this. You're getting as bad as Maximilian Pegasus with his Toontown deck.
To be fair.
Yes.
That's a trope of character needs a gimmick. That's his gimmick. But also, having played trading card games, now I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! I've played several other ones. You have people who hyper focus on one thing for their decks. Like they become the master of just that one thing. Like there's a game called Magic the Gathering, and there are 5 colors that you play with. And there are people who they will only play blue, and because they master how that plays out. They know how it works out, and they build a deck around that, and they don't deviate from that very much at all. Even when they make new decks, they copy certain elements from another deck because it wins them battles. Like, that's the thing is, like, if you watch, we're going way off base here. If you watch tournaments of TCG games, you'll see these top edge players. They have 2, maybe 3 decks that they play with. And it's because they have learned the ins and outs of how those decks work, and they have perfected them. The idea is that this is the perfect deck that works for my play style. And so for Kaiba, he's just power hungry, let me blow things up with a big old blast. And that's all his characters were blow things up with a big old blast. He doesn't think about strategy.
I get that. And that's the thing. It's part of what you said early on about how there's almost, I know the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise, or at least the anime as a whole, almost never, it has strategies, but they're like very loose strategies, and there's always the person wins because they happen to pull the last card, the perfect card from their deck. That's the whole heart of the cards mentality that the anime always harps on about. But I can't follow anybody's strategies in this game, in this movie.
Right.
I'm trying. It's like I know that there's only loose rules in the anime,
right?
But they still have to follow some rules. And I'm sitting there looking at, okay, so Seto is in love with dragons. That's obvious.
Yes.
Diva is in love with these weird Egyptian cube monster things that keep growing and shrinking. And it's like, and this only works in his dimension dueling thing. That's why he pulls it every time.
Make my monster grow.
Yeah. And Yugi is doing his thing, but then but I can kind of go in there because I actually like the looks of all the Dark Magician girls. But you have to realize I'm a casual viewer.
Yeah,
I am here to watch giant monsters attack things, and I don't know, and I know there's not a whole lot of lore expressed about the actual individual cards in the show, because that's not the point. So I expect to see lots of different monsters, not a horde of dragons from this guy and the same 5 monsters from this other guy. Yugi has at least some variety.
Right.
And there's a part of me that's still going, can we just get Joey Wheeler in here for one fight so we can get killed quickly?
I kind of wanted that too.
Because Joey is actually a fairly decent duelist. That's part of his arc early on, is Yugi mentoring him through the whole thing. That's why by the end of this, he's wanting to be a professional duelist. We never get to see him actually have a duel in this.
No, we don't.
Right?
And that's annoying. We only ever get to see Seto, Yugi, and Diva have duels in this movie. It's like, give me a 4th deck, please. Let me see somebody else's pseudo strategy. But no, we don't ever get that. So anyway, my third dislike is the strategies of this anime make no sense whatsoever. Anyway, Jacob, what's your third dislike?
Oh my gosh! So I wrote down 2. I didn't have a third, so mine would probably be Joey. Joey is just he's like, here it is. So when Diva sends poor Joey into, what do they call it?
The
Plana, or whatever we've been calling it.
I want to call it the Shadow Realm. That's the crap what it is.
Yeah, the Shadow Realm.
Right.
And it's like, oh yeah, you're the slow one, because he keeps emphasizing me like, oh, you're the slow one. You're the slow one in the group. And I'm thinking, like, to me, I'm taking a personal offense to this for a guy who has learning disorders and the whole bit. Now, they've always played Joey as the dumb brick, the dumb brick of the character, and obviously be like, it
doesn't, the dog suit doesn't help, does it?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I'll be like, dang it, I have a neurological disorder. I'm offended by someone dressing as a dog. But no, actually, no. I play along with it so much fun because God puts things in our lives.
Let's be honest. If I didn't think he was fine with it, I would not make.
I know, right?
Oh, believe me. I have so many people in my life that know how I feel about things, and the approach I do with my Tourette's. Be like, I have so many people who will dig me with it so many times. Definitely a lot of younger guys. It is so much fun. But either or, when oh my gosh, I almost found myself being offended by Diva calling Joey slow because I'm like, okay, he might not be the fastest bulb, he's not the brightest bulb of the bunch, but he's not stupid,
Right.
No.
far as I understand, he's not a stupid character. He's just be like he works at a different pace or something like that.
The reason in the anime he was slower to pick up on things was so they could explain the game.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's why the character was like that, and they're just and it doesn't work here.
No, it doesn't.
By now, Joey's actually a pretty decent duelist, or at least he was in the anime.
Right.
Yeah, because be like they go on to explain, we're like, oh, when he graduates from high school, he's going to go from professional dueler. It's like, okay, that's his passion. And so when Diva keeps calling him slow, I'll be like, okay, are you calling him mentally deficient? Be like, are you saying because he because there again, when you have learning disorders, you learn at a different pace,
Right.
And so be like, sometimes be like when someone says something, you're like, huh, what are you talking about? And for someone like me who has a slight form of Asperger's, which sometimes I don't pick up on social cues sometimes, and it's very frustrating. And when you get around people who are very very hateful, very mean about things, because they'll be like, what are you, stupid or something? Be like, because I've had people do that
Right.
with my Tourette's and also with my my Asperger's. And so I'm like, whoa, wait one darn minute. Because I'd be like, for years, I struggled with it. I'd be like, oh, you're just stupid. You're dumb. And I know I'm not dumb. I know that. I'm very much aware of that. And when someone says that, be like, I find myself getting very offended by that.
Sure.
I'm like, whoa, this guy is not dumber than a brick. So slow down there, Diva. Be like, you sound like a diva yourself. So, calm down. Go drink an enchilada. Go drink an enchilada. That's a new one. Go get yourself your latte. Calm down. And maybe for a second, maybe not, picking the guy because he's the audience jump into point with characters.
Yeah, right.
And with this movie, it doesn't really work because they just play him. He's dumber than a brick.
Yeah.
And obviously he's not. So I just found when Diva keeps calling him, they don't want to call him stupid. They call him slow. And I was like, okay, I'm getting offended by this. So yeah, that's my third. They're like, Diva, shut up.
I respect that.
That brings us to the end of our likes and dislikes. So we need to rate this thing. Dallas, what are you rating this movie?
I've been thinking about it. I enjoyed watching the movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's not a perfect movie by any means. And so can't give it a 10. It's not a terrible movie. So I'm not going to throw in the dumpster fire or anything like that. So I'm going to give it I think it's a decent 7, like a 7 out of 10. I think it's, it's, if it's on, I'll watch it. I might pull it up on Amazon Prime and check it out. If I'm just feeling the Yu-Gi-Oh spirit, I might pull it out and watch it or something like that. I legitimately was, after we finished watching it, went, where's my deck of cards from when I was 16 years old? Like, I legitimately asked myself that question after watching it. So yeah, that's where I'm going to place it.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
I'm giving it an 8 just because how much fun this movie is.
Yeah, I get that.
Even with the absolute ridiculousness, or the rushness and the lack of tension from the actual fights, from the actual duels.
Yeah.
I still feel it's a fun moment. And there were times where it's like, I was hooked on are they actually going to get out of this, much like I would have been in the show. Yeah, I don't have the tension, but it's like, how are we going to get through this point? How are you going to be? And there's still parts of it that's disappointing. It's like, you quit the game with 200 life points left. You didn't only finished one game this entire movie, but it's like, it's still a fun movie.
Agreed.
I'm giving it an 8 because it's just such a fun movie.
Okay, awesome.
I respect that.
I also, I'm the exact same sentiment as Drew with this. Be like, I absolutely love this film. There again, not having all the accoutrements when it comes to the Yu-Gi-Oh series, and I just enjoy for film itself. I enjoy the animation for top. It is just top notch. It may not be my exact style when it comes to anime, but It just be like beautifully shot, be like the styling, the lighting, the shadow, the character build-ups with this. Definitely when you have Kaiba and his obsession with the Pharaoh, and be like wanting to face the Pharaoh one more time, and you're dealing with Yugi and the separation from Pharaoh.
Yeah.
And I thought it was incredible storytelling. And it was like, because it was they key on the idea that like the Pharaoh isn't coming back. The Pharaoh won't come back because they've grown, and become different people. They're no longer dependent on each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like you said, that Yugi's grown up. Yugi's become his own person, and Pharaoh has learned friendship, learned humanity through him. And then obviously and then at the very end where the Pharaoh does come back, and it's just like, you just have all these great moments. Be like, it has some points where it's just like, ugh, and it's like, okay, that's weird. Or they sacrifice story beats and elements to be like, oh, bigger and badder monsters, and ratchet up the excitement with the fights. And yeah, there's just so many great moments in this movie. I'm giving it 8. It's great. I will definitely not be selling this because I just enjoy it. It's a wonderful film. You don't have to know everything there is about Yu-Gi-Oh at all in order to enjoy this film, because it sets you up with information you need in order to, for someone coming from an outside perspective, not knowing a whole lot about Yu-Gi-Oh. This is very well done story, and I would highly recommend it for anybody. If you're a Yu-Gi-Oh fan or not, if you're someone who's just be like an outsider looking in, come get this movie, go rent it, watch it, and just enjoy it. You'll probably have some problems with it. You might not know everything, like Drew's popping all these little things off that I had no idea. Like Joey was in a dog suit, or he was a dog at one point.
He wasn't a dog technically, but he was in that role, we'll say.
Oh, okay. He was in that role. Okay.
Someone had forced him to be their dog.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Oh, okay. Interesting. So either or, I don't get all the nice drops from the series or whatever, but I enjoy the movie as itself, and I will definitely be keeping it in my collection as part of my ever growing expansion of anime movies. Right. In such great parts due to this podcast. So yeah,
respect.
8.
I want to second something you said, though, is that you don't have to know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh! Enjoy the movie. Celeste has never watched Yu-Gi-Oh! And she enjoyed watching it also. And they do legitimately, to their credit, they do a great job of carrying the story in a way so that if you don't know anything about it, you can enjoy it. And I appreciate when a story does that.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
agreed.
That
brings us to the end of that review, which means we need to announce our next movie that we're reviewing, which is going to be Belle.
Mm-hmm.
The trivia for this the trivia question for that episode is going to be: the composer for Belle is Ludwig Forssell. Every other composer credited on his IMDb are for video games that were directed by whom? So yeah, keep an eye out for that. But for now, we need to jump over to the animated series to review some Tangled.
And the masters of the universe.
Cats are on the move. Cats are loose. Cocktails, woo.
Let's get dangerous.
Building a rocket or fighting a mummy or climbing up the Eiffel Tower.
The pinky and the brain. Narf!
All right. Before we get too far into this, Dallas, I have a question for you.
42.
Have you ever seen any of this Tangled stuff before?
No.
So you're completely lost as to what's going on.
Aside from the few episodes I've heard of you guys reviewing it, yes, I know that there's a brick road, so obviously there's no dwarves here that they're following, and I know that this is Rapunzel, and that's the prince, and that he has some major little man syndrome going on. Like he's got to be the big guy. That's about it.
Technically, Eugene is not a prince.
Not a prince.
He's a Prince color character.
He's a thief.
He's a thief. He's a thief.
But anyway, I just want to touch on that, just to get an idea,
Right.
Get an idea as to where you're coming in on this. So the first episode we're looking at tonight is The Forest of No Return, which was directed by Joe O and written by Kelly Hannon. The guest character in this is Kelly Hu, reprising her role as Adira from the first episode of the season, Beyond the Corona Walls. That's the name of it. The synopsis. Well, when the gang gets lost in the mysterious forest of no return, they must rely on the mysterious Adira as their guide. Trivia for this: Adira has gone through the forest once, so she made a map and lets the gang use it. Eugene got jealous of Adira. This is actually just more of the thing. Anyway, let's just move on. So, Dallas, since you don't have any context for why they're on this journey, what are your thoughts on this episode?
On this episode, I thought it was fun. Like coming in blind, I had zero clue what was happening, but it didn't take long to figure out the tropes of the characters, who people were, and what they did. I wasn't sure how much they knew of Adira or not at the first, and but they do a great job of playing up the characters in a way that you find out what's going on pretty quickly. I think the art style is interesting. I enjoy the this flat panel almost storybook drawing that they have that's animated. There's a few people out there that's been doing that lately, and it can be done really, really well, or it could be trash. And this is really well done. I enjoyed watching the animation take place.
Cool. All right, Jacob, what are your thoughts on this episode?
My thoughts, it's more, this episode in itself is very much a Eugene episode.
Yes.
Eugene Fitzherbert, or also known as Flynn Rider. It's one of his, be like, Eugene is one of these guys, be like, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm the leader of the bunch. I don't listen to anybody else. Definitely they're an outsider. And it's Eugene learning to grow. It's one of his developmental stories. And I really enjoy it where it's Eugene is like, he's bucking against what's her name again? Adira. Thank you. I'm terrible with names. Adira, who is be like just offering her assistance because she's be like, this is the path you need to go on. Rapunzel has to go to the Dark Kingdom, has to do this and has to do this. And Eugene being the he's a bullheaded character. He's a bullheaded character. And throughout the course of this episode, he learns that humility, that it's like, hey, Adira knows what she's talking about, and I can't lead this because I don't know this information. Like, yeah, I grew up in the woods and all this great stuff because the backstory in this, like all the main characters, they give very detailed information about their backstories and the whole bit. Definitely we need the season 3. I'm not going to go into which character that is because that spoils everything when it comes to the beginning of season 3. But there's a lot of amazing points where it's Adira and Eugene bickering, or Eugene trying to buck against her advice, and he just winds up falling on his face with it. I really enjoy that when he finally comes to that point of humility. It's like, you know what, this be like, you're the one in charge. Be like, I don't have to be in charge all the time. And I really love that growth of Eugene as a character. And that's one of the main reasons I wanted to do Tangled series, or Rapunzel Tangled Adventure, as part of TAS, because there again, this is an amazing story. I would highly recommend going back and watching season 1 because season 1's really well done.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't watched it already, but overall, be like, I just really, really enjoyed this episode. Really, really enjoyed it. Drew?
You're right in that it is a Eugene focused episode, but also I feel like Rapunzel has to. She learns a little bit because they're all trying to figure out who this.
Yeah,
we still don't know who Adira is.
Agreed.
At this point.
Agreed. Yeah.
She's only been in. She only had like 3 other total appearances.
Yeah.
One of them was a non-speaking role at the end of season 1.
Mm-hmm.
She had a quick speaking role at the beginning of Beyond the Corona Walls, and then another speaking role during the fight during at the end of Beyond the Corona Walls.
Mm-hmm.
This is really the first time we're really getting to know the character, and I feel like this is the first point where we're actually seeing more of her fun, loving side because we know from the flashback at the beginning of of Beyond the Corona Walls that she's supposed to be stopping people from going where the Black Rocks are taking them, but yet she's helping them get there, which we still don't know why. So
I do.
Yeah, I know you do, but they're not going there,
right?
Not yet. We'll get there when we get there. But I'm so curious as to why why this is her. She's going like this. Now, I will say, considering a bit of story knowledge that I got accidentally spoiled on when doing research for the first episode of this season, her relationship with Eugene was very interesting to watch in this.
Yeah.
So I am curious how much that's going to play into. But my favorite series of jokes in this, though, has to do with Shorty.
Oh, gosh.
Every time they come up on that tree, oh, he looks like my brother Mert.
Uncle
Hey,
Mert. Uncle Mert.
Uncle Mert. We just saw a tree that looked like you. And he gets
yeah,
the last one.
we know.
Who's Uncle Mert?
It's like, my uncle who looks like a tree.
That whole shebang is like, Shorty, I both love and hate you.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Like,
yeah, you're right. Because it'll be like like every character, like for the most part, like Rapunzel and Cassandra, be like you have these characters, be like there's always kind of some kind of conflict with this story. Always. And they there's always great buildup with the conflict between characters. And I love that about storytelling. And definitely when it's done right, when it's done correctly. And there again, it'd be like it's threading these little things, be like there's tension growing between characters. I love that. Definitely when there again, knowing what goes on the end of season 2 and season 3 and finale of season 3, it's just be like it's so well done, and I can't wait to get to certain points. And like,
anyway, I wasn't done with my point.
Go for it.
You just keep talking and not letting me talk. Anyway, no, the other thing I felt bad was for Lance, because again he gets wrapped up by a spider.
Oh my gosh!
And Lance has arachnophobia out the wazoo.
That was
very bad.
When he
And
said,
these
"Why
are
is it
pretty
always
spiders
spiders?" I died. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah,
I was like, I
Good
feel you, brother.
night.
Yeah.
And the thing was, I knew even the first time we watched this, because we're having to go back through this because of my slow editing. When we first watched this, I knew that knowing that they were going to have this is how this episode ended with them getting attacked by these things. The fact that they plugged, it's like, oh, by the way, these I remember there was I knew they were I appreciated their beauty, but knew that I shouldn't be taken back by it because they are actually pure evil. I'm like,
yeah,
boy, that's telegraphed
just
very hard,
a little bit.
And they don't telegraph that bad this often, but it was like it's really weird how it hit here.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts on this particular episode. You ready to jump into the next one?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Next episode, Freebird, directed by Tom Caulfield and written by David Schiff. Guest cast in this, we've got Christian Borle as father and Kathy Najimy as mother. And if you're curious where you've heard the name Kathy Najimy before, she is one of the witches in Hocus Pocus.
Oh,
the
dude,
the one that's rides the
vacuum
cleaner.
Yeah, that's
wow.
right. And they're doing a Hocus Pocus 3 for Disney Plus.
Yeah.
That's gonna
Just
be cool.
bringing that
I'm
up.
not gonna lie.
That's cool. I didn't realize
I
that.
pulled up that in DB just to see who these actors were, and there's some stellar actors in this.
Mhm.
Like I
Oh, yeah.
didn't realize that
Very much
Zachary
so.
Levi was in this. Kelly Hu.
Yeah, Zachary Levi is reprising his role from the movie. In fact, all the
And Mandy
characters
Moore.
who are in the movie are reprising their roles for the show.
I didn't
Yeah.
that's impressive. That's really impressive. But just like all those characters, Kelly Hu played Adrena. Like I was like, wow, I know her. So I was impressed.
Mhm.
Summary for this episode: the caravan breaks down. The guys all start trying to show off their manly muscles. So Cassandra and Rapunzel go off on an adventure against Cassandra's wishes. They come across a couple in the forest that tells them, "Hey, if you drink this tea, you'll turn into a bird." And they do so for some reason. Well, because Rapunzel's a free spirit, and she says, "Hey, that might be cool." And the other guys come in there, and they, for some reason, drink the tea, which makes even less sense. And they all get turned into birds, and they have to. And by the end of it, everything turns out hunky dory.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting into the trivia for this one. In this episode, Rapunzel wears her original dress from the show.
Mm-hmm.
Shorty disappearing into the bush is a reference to the Homer Bush meme from The Simpsons. Character designer Amanda Jolly received the 2019 Annie Award for Outstanding Achievement for Character Design in an animated television / broadcast production for her work on this episode.
Really?
Yeah. The episode's title, of course, shares its name with a song by Leonard Skinner. No kidding.
Yeah. You think?
Dallas, what are your thoughts on this episode?
I thought this was a fun episode. Again, every episode that I watched, they brought me into a story of me not knowing who these characters were, but allowed me to get a real good sense of grasp of what type of characters these were from the get-go. And I appreciate that. The dialogue between Rapunzel and Cassandra, you're like, okay, there's a friendship there, but she's clearly annoyed with Rapunzel. Because she's just like, it's the preppy cheerleader with the goth girl. I mean, that's what it was. And
pretty much.
So, but
there may be a reason for that, so we're not going there now.
But it was fun. It was a good episode. I appreciated the ending where Rapunzel sacrifices herself for Cassandra. Like it shows her heart. Like she's not just like, oh, I'm free to go. Like she genuinely cares about people. And I appreciated that whole aspect. And then just the turn in Cassandra and how she responded to that, and she was legitimately heartbroken. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want her to like slash the nose off the old man after she thought there were no more eggs. But it was cool.
That would be a Cassandra thing, but that's yeah. If it wasn't Disney Channel, she probably would have done it.
I thought 4 kids got a hold of it and then went to the Shadow Realm. I wasn't sure.
Oh, gosh.
Jacob, what are your thoughts on this episode?
Oh gosh, yeah. So this episode is primarily with the relationship between Cassandra and Rapunzel, and I love the point where it's again, I was bringing up the tension, the character development with these characters, and it's a lot of like Cass is taking her job seriously. The king is tasked her with protecting Rapunzel, and with Cassandra, it's more like, this is just a game to you. It's you don't take anything seriously. And it's just that back and forth where it's just more Rapunzel's very adventurous. She's a free spirit. But when they get turned into birds, due to Rapunzel's curiosity about everything and wanting to do everything to an extent, it just be like she comes to the realization that like she's kind of afraid that if she's been locked up in a tower for 18 years and she was locked up, spoiler for season 1, and like she
wasn't allowed to leave town for a year.
Yeah. And so she's spreading her wings, metaphorically and literally in this episode, just to and she starts to learn that it's just like she knows that Cass is doing this because it's her job, and she takes her task seriously. And you said, Dallas, like the fact that like Cassandra is like literally heartbroken when there's no more eggs. She can't transform, like they can't save Rapunzel from her bird form. And when she becomes a bird, her eyes go black.
Yeah.
And there
Which I
again,
appreciated
like
that.
if you know anything about season 2, those eyes go black. I'm like, oh my gosh, is that a prelude to something?
We're not going there
No,
yet.
we're not going there yet.
I
know.
We're not to the great tree just yet.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just keep watching. It gets good. Let's just say that.
Sweet.
Yes, be like it's the like general. I'll be like just open, just like very honest. Be like she's broken because she can't save her best friend, and Shorty comes to the rescue and like poops out an egg.
Shorty ex machina.
Yeah, Shorty ex machina. And I was thinking like, oh, he discharged an egg. I was like, oh, okay, so Shorty's gonna be a bird forever. Nope, he discharges another one. And it's like, oh, okay, here's your DX,
Shorty ex
machina.
machina.
Yes. to save the day, which the character does every once in a while. Does come in and in a pinch comes in and dissolves the issue with his very odd way. But this is a great episode. I love there again. I don't understand why Eugene Hookfoot. Thank you. I'm getting it backwards. Hookfoot.
Yeah.
And
they couldn't get Brad Garrett to return for the show except for one episode. That's why he didn't return his hook hand.
That is true. And
so his brother came in.
Yeah. So it's just be like, I understand. Be like, yeah, the guys stumble into the Mad Hatter scene. What that is. It's literally a Mad Hatter scene. It's like, why in the world would these guys, be like, oh yeah, I like to turn a bird, and it's that whole. I was like, so one thing I didn't quite get.
Yeah, I still don't know why they did it, other than
just convenience.
Eugene is stupid, and the other two will just do what they want. He's doing anyway.
Exactly. Be like it's the point I really
and you can kind of tell from the writing. There's no way they would do this normally. That's why we're not going to show how they got done. We're just going to say, oh yeah, it happened to them.
Right. And also, you
and how did Shorty get involved in all this? How did he get turned into a bird?
Yeah, exactly. We never saw that. Be like, all we saw would be like he goes into the bush and then Pascal follows him. Yeah, that's it.
Caspal, I guess it's just you and me.
What's your name again?
No, he calls him Caspal.
Caspal, that's it. Yeah, Caspal. Oh my gosh, Shorty. But like you could go into the point where it's like the guys are showing off and the whole bit and be like, oh, it's toxic masculinity. It's like, no, it's guys being guys. Yeah, like when you get a bunch of guys together, we're just show off. We're goofy. We act like guys. And I really enjoy that where they finally get to the point and it's like, hey, where are the girls? And Eugene, the leader of the bunch, is like, hey, we gotta find the girls. And then they get into the hygiene turn into a bird. And yeah, I just really, really, really enjoy what they're going with. And yeah, stay tuned because
it gets crazy.
Oh, it gets good and crazy.
But anyway, my thoughts on
your thoughts on it. Sorry, I ramble a lot in the show.
No, really?
Squawk.
Anyway, you little bird brained yourself.
Dog brained.
So yeah, a part of me wants to look at this as kind of a filler episode, but it really isn't, because we're definitely doing some more establishment of characters, especially between Cassandra and Rapunzel, because that's going to come up a lot going forward.
A lot.
One of the things I really did appreciate in this is, like y'all said, it gets to a point where it's like, how are Rapunzel's goes bird brain by the end of this,
literally.
Now I thought two things. Well, obviously bird brain is not permanent since they're able to return everyone else to that. So if they can find an egg somewhere, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but where's the egg gonna come from? And also we know it has to be reversed somehow because there's a season and a half left of the show.
Yeah.
Plus there's the short that is canon that was on the DVD. So we know that she's going to have to unbird at some point. But I liked how they wait till like the last minute. It's like, yeah, we're going to pull this tension on you all the way to the end of this so that you don't know how they're going to get out of this, even though you know they have to, because it's
storytelling.
It's storytelling. Yeah. They're going to have to do it at some point.
Sure, the
I
Ex Machina.
and I also love how all the characters, when they get turned into birds, you can easily make out who is who.
Yeah.
Even the people who we only get to see on screen for like a short second that were the other birds, you can tell how you can see their facial features from
In
their
the
human
bird.
form to their bird form. And that's a lot of hard work to get that to pull off in two different forms to make it where it's obviously the same person.
Yeah.
I mean, admittedly, Eugene's is the weakest.
Yeah.
Because it's literally just his hair on a bird.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, like in the structure of the face, he looks like Eugene.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, and I guess with Eugene's character as vain as he is,
yeah, just a little.
His hair would probably be one of the few things that would make the transfer. And I love how
and his widow peak.
Yes, and I love how Hookfoot
still
has teeth that are broken. In that form.
And he still has his hook on his
foot. And he still has the hook on his foot. It's like, that shouldn't be a thing. How did you shrink the hook? How does this magic shrink the hook? That's what I would like to know. But
here's another question. Like Cassandra, throughout the entire episode, she uses the seed or whatever to get Owl's attention, which is her owl.
Yeah, how does she hold on to that seed?
Right.
Yeah, when she gets transformed into a bird in order to get Owl into the picture again. Yeah. It's like, how does that happen?
Yeah,
cartoon magic.
And Owl was just hanging around. And it's like,
who?
Cartoon magic is correct.
Thinking, okay, I'm sure whatever. I don't know what kind of bird Cassandra got turned into, but I assume that would be prey for
Owl, exactly.
But the owl is smart enough not to attack his mistress,
right?
Even though now she's technically prey for him.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
That is interesting. It's extreme loyalty. Right. That's what I keep thinking.
But I do have one question.
What's that?
Rapunzel's hair when she gets turned into a bird.
Yes.
Where does it go? She doesn't get long hair coming out of her like she should because that hair has been indestructible since it came back.
That's true.
Well, I think it's just more proportionate to the character size.
But it's not there.
Oh, it's there.
Form. It's not, but not even proportionally to where it is.
That is true.
Even with
part of the tail feathers.
Yeah, that is true.
I guess it's just a weird little thing that I didn't think of until I was sitting here talking about it. It's like, where did all that hair go?
That makes
because
sense.
her magic has been impervious. Like I said, it's been impervious to everything.
Yeah.
Except the black rocks.
Yeah.
This entire time.
Exactly.
Since her hair came back. So what's going on? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I think that brings us to the end of our episode here. Dallas,
sir,
where can we find you at?
You can find me.
Oh, actually, before you do that, I have one question. I should have meant to ask this because I'm going to take a line out of I said Rapunzel, but I'm trying to say Francisco's playbook. Since you saw those 2 episodes, does this get you into watching any Tangled going forward?
Yeah, I'd be interested to check it out. Celeste and I've been talking about for a while, me watching the movie, and so yeah, I'm definitely interested to check it out. It was a good story. It grabbed my attention pretty quickly. It was fun. It was just a fun show. I could easily see me going. Celeste and I just sitting down on an afternoon just to chill and watch a couple episodes just to decompress. We have shows that we like to just like. We don't want to think right now. We just want to laugh and have fun. And at these episodes, while there's some depth to it, they're kind of that vein. And so I can see us going back and watching these. I know she wants to watch it. She was actually disappointed I watched them on my lunch break without her today. So
I can imagine.
Well, if she's
like, you watched it without me.
Well, I think you've told me at one point she's seen the movie.
Yeah, she's seen the movie. I haven't.
So she's gonna if she had watched the show with you, she would have one very big question if she's not watched any of the show up to this point. And that is where her hair came back from.
Yeah, exactly.
Oof.
Because the TV pilot does explain that.
Yeah.
I was actually wondering.
Anyway,
I've seen screenshots. I know she has short hair.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we've done that,
so let me get this straight. You have not watched Tangled.
No,
he hasn't watched Tangled.
Moana.
It's his favorite Disney movie.
It's one of my favorite Disney films of all time. So just be like, yeah, go watch it, dude. It's worth it. Oh my god!
Part of the reason this was been on our to-do list for a long time.
Yes. So highly recommend go watch Tangled.
Totally.
Anyway, Dallas, where can we find you at?
Yeah, you can find me right here, right now. And geekdevotions.com is the website for our show. And then we put out weekly devotionals on YouTube every Friday, where we take geek pop culture items like movies, video games, comics, and we use them to let people know they're loved. We have our Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter. Just look for Geek Devotions. And then, of course, we have our podcast, Calm Talk by Geek Devotions. And then we have another podcast called The Bottom Shelf, where we review terrible movies. And then we have another podcast called We Read Allegedly, where a group of folks, it's kind of like a book club. They look at a book and they discuss it. And it's cool. It's a really neat podcast.
Cool. So when it comes to The Bottom Shelf, Bill, like I haven't really caught up with all of them yet. So in your opinion, what's the worst film you've seen so far?
For The Bottom Shelf?
Or either or.
And why is it Avatar?
That's the thing. The Avatar is not the worst thing I've watched now. It's just not, man. The worst thing I've watched was it's a toss up between The Velocipaster or Fatal Deviation, which is Irish kung fu movie that looks like it was
Dollar Store Gandalf. I remember this.
Dollar Store Gandalf. The theory are supposedly they broke their expensive movie camera and they filmed the rest of it on somebody's Handycam. And the best part was the fact that there was a vehicle that rolls off a mountain or off a hill and catches on fire. And the thing about it is that was real. They didn't mean to do that. They knocked somebody else's car over the hill and caught it on fire. And that was the best part of the movie. The rest of it was just this dude who wished he was Jean-Claude Van Damme trying to make a movie. And he just copied every Jean-Claude Van Damme movie ever. So it's terrible. That's probably the worst movie. That and Velocipaster.
Oh my gosh. I've heard of Velocipaster. My cousin mentioned it, and now, granted, my cousin has different views than probably we do. And he's like, "Man, this is it's stupid, but it's a really good film." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I keep hearing everybody else, but this is the dumbest thing ever.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. I'm not watching it again, personally.
Okay.
Well, I have a suggestion for a movie.
Oh Lord, what is it?
Oh no!
Have you heard of the animated "quote unquote" masterpiece Food Fight?
Food Fight? No.
My gosh!
I have a copy. This is essentially Toy Story, but with grocery food brands.
Oh, I've heard about this.
It was created. It was made back in like 2001, and the footage disappeared, probably due to extortion, and maybe the Russian mafia was involved.
Wow!
And they released what they had, and it looks garbage. This looks like it might be your first real actual dumpster fire movie if y'all do it, and I would be on for that.
Yeah, same here. That would be incredible.
Oh my gosh!
I bought my copy for $4.
Wow! Do you feel like you ever paid for that?
I haven't watched it yet. I have no idea how
it's
horrible
still in the it's still in the wrap.
Oh my god!
91 minutes. It comes with a free digital copy that expired December 31st, 2014.
Oh my god!
And I bought it in like 2018.
Wow!
This is new old stock.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
It's got Charlie Sheen, Eva Longoria, Hilary Duff, and Wayne Brady in it.
Oh my gosh!
Our next,
yes, be like, if you guys ever do that, we would love to come on.
I'll keep that in mind. Our next movie that we are reviewing is for the Bottom Shelf podcast is Mortal Kombat.
Oh, that's a good movie.
And then we're also going to do.
That's why I read your phrase. It's a fun movie.
Then we're doing Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Less good.
Very much less good.
So on the docket, we have a whole bunch of other movies that are We're doing something called Sharktopus. I don't know what it is.
I think I've seen that on like an Amazon page.
Yeah, we are going to do Street Fighter at some
Not
point.
far from Velocipaster.
Yeah. And we're also going to be doing Super Mario Bros. In the future.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
The movie?
Cool.
Yeah.
That's one of those movies I like, but not for the reasons the directors would want.
And
Same
also,
with Street Fighter, which I would be on for also, because I've got that on Steelbook.
Wow.
oh my gosh.
I got to ask you this. I know
I remember watching that. I couldn't stand it.
the podcast I know is running along. But I got to ask you this. Your copy, everyone, my copy, I got a Blu-ray I got from Second Charles, and it looks like somebody had gotten us a DVD copy, and then because it was 2015, used Zune software to rip a Zune video, and then they burned it on a Blu-ray. So the menu is non-dynamic, full screen, but when you start the movie, it takes up a square on the TV. It doesn't take up the whole screen. It's a square.
I have not looked at it, but it is the Shout Factory release,
Oh.
and Shout Factory usually does a better job about these things.
Yeah. Just curious.
They usually are pretty good about, at least doing a new rip, a new scan, and doing something. They did say it's been digitally remastered.
Nice.
So it's maybe better than that.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
But
that's
I admittedly have not put the disc in the drive yet. I will say that it did come with bison dollars.
Woo! Bison dollars.
Yeah.
Look at you. Look at you, sir.
oh my gosh.
Yeah. If only that was a cryptocurrency going somewhere.
It's not NFTs.
Anyway, I think that brings us to the end of this episode. We'll catch you next time for Belle and for the next 2 episodes of Tangled. In the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
In Dallas.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming. On YouTube at Cellcast. On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.